to not feel somewhat like a sacrificial lamb. And regarding his feelings about Liv, McElroy didn't hold back.
I still hate Liv. Like, I hate Liv. Like, I hope it goes away, and I would fully expect that it does. And I think that's where the distinction here is. This is the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the PIF. Very different from Liv.
PIF is Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, the exclusive investor of the new Gulf Union. South Beach in the NBA spotlight as the finals shift to Miami for Game 3 tonight for the Nuggets and Heat. All tied up at a game apiece. Discipline and defense, the focus for Denver from Coach Michael Malone after that dismal performance in the fourth quarter of Sunday's loss. Game 3, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern on ABC.
O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
It is the Sportsocracy, and we are live in the Ingles Studio on a Wednesday afternoon here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We're heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. Welcome into the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, it's Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
And the Reclamation Project for my 2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets.
I did not realize, I really did not realize how close we were to the overreaction to a win by Miami. Dude, am I the only one that feels this way? That now, like, so going into the series, I felt like everybody was... We're all on the same page here. Miami's the fun little, upstart team, tough defensive team. It's going to make things difficult. But Denver's the overwhelming favorite here. We all pretty much expect them to win this series and blah, blah, blah,
nope,
blah.
The public doesn't. The public doesn't.
One loss in this series, and I feel like all that's changed. I feel like Miami has way more backers now than they ever did.
They sure do. And you know what Jeremy always says? When the public goes right, you go anywhere else.
It's just we are prisoners of the moment. We are victims of the last thing that we saw. I just didn't. I thought that this would be the reaction to this would be okay. Moving on. Denver lost one, and the rest of the series is all locked up. Now Jay Williams, he's the only one I think that I've heard that is just as confident. I mean, other than, of course, Flostradamus Jeremy Greene,
the resident Denver Nuggets fan in the room,
who for 3 years has been saying,
my 20, 21, 22, 23 NBA champion, Denver Nuggets.
Exactly. But you and Jay Will are the only ones that I've heard say, calm down, this is all fine, it's still going to be the gentleman's sweep. And maybe this is just the talking heads are trying to be spicy, trying to come up with a new take. But I feel like there's been the overcorrection here of this Game 3. I mean, is it that pivotal? Do you feel like if Miami comes up with a win tonight, then here's what we feared from Denver?
No.
Here comes the playoff collapse?
No. I mean, even if Miami wins tonight, it's not really going to change that much. I mean, if they were to come out and blow them out, then, okay, I might have a little bit of a panic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I mean, I think literally short of Miami winning this by 20, it's not going to change anything that I believe.
Series tied up, one game apiece as it switches to Miami tonight, Game 3. Jeremy will have his pick coming up for you at the end of this hour. In Greene on Greene, we'll get into more of the matchup and what could take place tonight down on South Beach. We also are going to unveil the expansion teams today.
So this is an idea we had
2 years ago?
2 years ago?
I believe.
And we kind of let it die on the vine because we didn't have the hands. But now we have intern Jake, who will be back on Friday, and then will be here with us pretty much through the rest of the summer. There were some things he had to do, coming back, still at school, coming back from Ireland, you got to do some stuff. So we're really excited about this because PFF stole our idea, and they did it their way. And I'm gonna say this way. I'm gonna say this as nicely as I can. Their way sucks, and I didn't like it. I watched every second of it, and I got angry, and I called Tank, which I never do at night, and I said we're doing this again. Mm-hmm. So now today we will unveil our team names, our logos, and we will pick our GM and our coaches.
So this is the process of what would it look like if you introduced 2 new teams to the league, what an expansion draft would look like.
And then we're going to carry this out throughout the year. So we'll have, and it's not going to be a daily thing, but it'll appear every once in a while. We'll keep tabs on the rookies, and we're going to do it just like the Jaguars and the Panthers. So we'll have an expansion draft in a couple days. We'll go through the NFL draft. We each get an extra pick at the end of 5 of the 7 rounds. So we'll take 12 rookies out of this class. We'll be able to take some undrafted free agents. We'll be able to sign some free agents. We have worked very diligently on the rules of this to make it as accurate as possible. And it's going to be a fun time. And this is June Sports Talk Radio. What's up?
So we'll be unveiling those expansion teams, the logos. We'll pick our coaches and GMs and all of that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour.
The logos are sweet.
Yeah, they are.
I'm not going to lie. I did them, so I'm a little biased. But
of course.
But the logos are sweet.
It's cool. We dig your work.
They're really indicative of us as people.
We've also got now the reaction is starting to come in from the PGA Live merger, so we'll talk about that, highlight that a little bit later on in the program as well. Plus all your favorite segments, weird and just a bit outside, and of course your most important message of the day: don't do crimes, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour.
Kelvin Joyner, already an early candidate for good comment of the day.
Nice.
Love how you guys are such draft nerds that you found an excuse to talk about the draft again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And wait till we start talking about fantasy drafts.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna.
And a lot
of fantasy draft things. Armchair and I will be convening to do the Mullet Man and the Canadan draft kit starting next week. Should be ready for sometime in the first week of July. So no, unless you're one of those like Tank that starts drafting rookies in May. If you're one of those, sorry.
I mean, you're beholden to what your league says, right? I mean,
no,
you can't.
If a league commissioner came to me and said, "Hey, we're going to draft in May," I'd go, "Are you on drugs? Or are you doing crimes right now?" I'm just getting over the actual NFL draft. I need a pause for the cause on draft stuff. Okay?
Yeah. Adam Harris and I, Adam, you'll see him in the chat every now and then.
Somebody that's already signed up for Beer City's ultimate fantasy football draft weekend.
Right. We had a we had a draft last weekend. So
yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's already begun. It's already begun. So we will we'll start fantasy content here pretty soon here in the Sportocracy as well.
We'll also be unveiling the show contest next week. There's a little bit of a catch.
Can't wait to find out what that is.
Yeah, I don't tell you this. You don't keep secrets well.
You're
like a teenage girl.
I talked to literally 5 people.
Yeah, and that's
in my life.
And you want it. If I want those 5 people to know what we're going to do with the show contest, that's what I tell you. If I need assistance in something, I'll tell Tank, so everybody that he talks to will now know.
Other than the millions and millions of listeners that we have, I talked to literally 5 people the entire day. One of them is Jeremy, and the rest of them are members of my immediate family who could give a squirt about what we're doing on the show.
No doubt.
So, just can't keep a secret. Interesting. All right. So anyway, let's get into it here in the Sportsocracy. Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
Hold on.
What?
Patrick Holt's one of the most loyal listeners of the show. Hit your breaking news button. This might be he'll do the dance, and then I'll say the news, and his face is going to be really funny. So somebody be ready with that clip button.
Oh, my God.
Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news?
This is earth-shattering breaking news in the world of soccer. Lionel Messi signing with Inter Miami.
I saw that earlier today, and I went,
No, but it's actually done now.
Yeah, but it took
It was
me a minute.
rumored before.
Yes, it was rumored, it was reported, but it's officially happening now. That's great. One of the greatest players of all time is coming to play in the MLS. Congratulations. Now, when I read that earlier today, it took me more time than I wanted it to for me to figure out what was happening. Because when I read the team name, I read it as Inter Miami, and I went, what? Like, I don't know. Inter Miami just seems too American. Like, when it's soccer even makes me want to change the names of our cities because it's just so foreign to me. I know this is something that I should be excited about, but I can't. Does that make me a bad American sports fan because I haven't embraced soccer yet?
No. Evan Doyle hit exactly why this is a story. You can see Messi and Charlotte. That's the only reason I care. Because I'll be really honest with you, if you told me right now, you have 1 hour, there are 10 MLS games on television right now. You have 1 hour to find one of them, or I will kill you. I would just hand you the knife and go, make it quick. Because I have like 10,000 channels, and I don't know.
See, I always roll my eyes when you use this term, when you refer to uninteresting games in the NBA or the NFL or college football. But every time soccer is mentioned, I immediately think, if they played that in my backyard, if you told me right now Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are going to go one-on-one on the soccer field that's directly behind your house,
I'd go.
I don't know that I would.
I'd go.
I mean, I might peek through the blinds and go, oh, yeah, there.
See, I'm one of those people that I'm not. I don't get wrapped up in the. How to explain this aptly? Tank is a go-to-games guy.
Yes.
I'll go to a random Bucks game.
Yes.
I couldn't care less. Now, you put me in the suite and we'll talk because Tank doesn't drink that many beverages and he always drives because he has a new car, which means I can sit in the suite and drink 100 domestic lights. I'd do that for anything. I'd go watch cricket, and I don't even know how that sport's played. I certainly don't know how it's scored. But that's an actual, event. Lionel Messi's a guy that, is special. This is like, Pele level. You're only going to get so many shots to see that. I would go see that. It's a once in a lifetime. I'll never get to see it again. Let's go. Now, what Holt is saying the tickets are reselling for, I'm Seacrest out on that.
Oh, $1,000?
Yeah, I will not be doing that.
$1,000 to get in the building to see one of the greatest soccer players of all time. And I get it. If you're a soccer fan, that's awesome.
What would you pay $1,000 for? I really want to know your answer to this.
$1,000 for. I mean, if that's all it costs, I'd pay $1,000 to go to a Super Bowl. I mean, like if the Tampa Bay Bucks were in it and that's all it would cost me, that's what I'd pay $1,000 for.
Yep. What you just said is I'd pay $1,000 for a Maserati. Of course you would, because it costs way more than that.
Other than that, I'm staying at home.
I meant like just a regular event.
Doesn't exist. That's to me, and this is because I didn't grow up with money, and so I was taught the value of $1, and God.
Yeah,
there's not a regular event that I would spend $1,000 to go to.
Oh, my answer to this is I have so many more answers to this than you do. I blow money like it's going out of style.
Yes, I know.
I've had 4-figure bar tabs recently enough. So for me, $1,000, yeah. You give me something that I'll never be able to see again. I don't even care if I care.
That's look at the ticket prices for this the Taylor Swift Eras tour.
Oh no, that I'm out.
This is all over the place, and
I
people
wouldn't
are
pay
paying
$10 to see Taylor Swift perform in my backyard.
Right. People are paying $5,000 for the cheapest tickets to get in to see Taylor Swift from the nosebleeds. I don't get that at all.
I know the answer, and I'm telling you right now, if this could be a thing, $1,000 in cash in hand right now. Creed reunion tour. Let's go. Creed reunion tour. I would pay $1,000 front row seats now.
Stop that.
Wouldn't think a second thing about it. And would probably do it with a slew of other bands. Matchbox 20. Let's go.
And
Godsmack again. They may all be selling car insurance now. I have no idea.
I couldn't do that. Like Godsmack. Like that's something that I'd be interested in going to see. Or, AC/DC. That's a perfect example. To me, one of the greatest rock bands of all time. I get that they're not everybody's flavor. But, I mean, that's a bucket list for me. Like, I need to see AC/DC. If somebody said, you give me $1,000 right now, you can go sit front row AC/DC, hang out backstage with them. You can meet them. You can do drugs with them. Whatever they're doing, you can do too. And
that's crimes. Don't do that.
And I would go, I'm out. Sorry, that's not worth it for me. So no, I'm completely out on paying big bucks to go to events. $1,000 to go see Lionel Messi. Isn't
That's
that how you say it?
event.
Because you got to say it soccer style, right? It's not Lionel Messi. Lionel.
I mean, I think either one works.
It's not an event I would like, but it's going to be a big seller, and it's great for the sport.
See, I'm an event guy. If it's something that I'll never say, I'll be honest with you. If LeBron James has one of those farewell tours that you've mentioned multiple times that he will have on his way out because he's egotistical and that's what he'll do, I'd probably pay $1,000 to see him in Charlotte, and probably will. Never have a chance to see again. Do I like him? Nope. I haven't since pretty much the minute he walked in the league. There was a little period of time where all of you hated him, and I went, okay, now I'm on board. But I'd pay $1,000 for that.
Okay. Would it matter if he won or lost?
No.
Okay.
I want to go, be as close as I can, and see something that I'll never see again.
You're in the Sportsocracy. ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Last time I did that, it didn't work out for me. I went to see Tom Brady play a football game, and he got beat by the freaking Carolina Panthers. So,
that was one of the great days of my life. That cost me $0, and it was worth infinitely more than that.
Game 3 of the NBA Finals, what has to happen for each team? We'll talk about it next.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people.
I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina.
Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingarone, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Are you suffering from seasonal allergies? Because you're not alone. Experts say pollen season started earlier this year and will last longer, and that folks who've never had issues before are feeling miserable. I'm Martin Hoke, inventor of Navage, the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Over 3 million people use Navage to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, helping to flush out allergens, mucus, and germs. Navage helps clear your sinuses quickly and naturally. But what about other people's experiences, like Miss Clement? Quote, I chose Navage because of my persistent allergies. Navage works. While using it, I cut back on allergy meds and occasional shots at my doctor's office. Unquote. That's one of over 120,000 reviews with a 4.6-star average written by people who use Navage to breathe better, snore less, and feel healthier. Stop suffering and try Navage today at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Had enough of those little flies in your kitchen?
I did. That's why I got Zevo. I just plug in the trap, insert a cartridge, and let the light do all the work.
Zevo traps use blue and UV light to attract and trap flying insects with no odor, no mess, and no stress. Stop swatting and ditch the DIY traps. With Zevo, getting rid of bugs is as easy as
Click, click, blue.
Zevo. People friendly, bug deadly.
Spring in the South means the return of Atlanta Braves baseball.
There's a liner out towards center field. It will lay down. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
The 2023 Braves load up for another huge season.
The Braves play here on ESPN Asheville.
Back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight in Miami. Series is 1-1. Denver Nuggets, who couldn't be beaten at home, according to Flostradamus, lost one at home.
Well, they hadn't lost one since March, so
they were due. They were due for an off game.
I'd be remiss if I didn't point out Denver hasn't been good on the road this year. They've been much better at home. So this is going to have to be to me, you have to come out and play the way you did in game 1. Don't let these small adjustments really throw you off. I feel like Michael Malone coming out after game 2 and really calling out his team. It makes me think you're going to see a much better defensive effort tonight. I'm not telling you that Miami can't win. They very much can. The betting markets are bearing out that the sharps and the smarts and the wise guys are really on Denver. And I tend to agree. You know, a lot's been made about, you should just make Jokic a scorer and take everybody else away. Wow, why did no one else think of that? That's a really brilliant strategy you came up with there. Oh, wait, I've seen that happen 3 times in these playoffs. You know what happened the next game in all 3 of them? Denver didn't just win, they won convincingly.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the path, and I don't think it will be, I think that's why Eric Spoelstra got so put off by that question from Ramona Shelburne, is that this is just not that easy.
Yeah.
And he said something
he butchered the response, but okay.
Well, he did. And
don't be a jerk about it.
Well, I mean, in saying Ramona Shelburne's the untrained eye,
Right.
Okay, tell me you don't maybe even know this person is. I mean, she's a very bright NBA reporter.
Mm-hmm.
So to call her the untrained eye was very off-putting to me. It was supposed to be an I'm mad the other day,
Right.
but
I didn't like
we didn't get to it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I don't like that when Bill Belichick and Greg Popovich do that to people. Eric Spoelstra, I'm not going to let you get away with it either.
Well, there are a lot of coaches that think you're reinventing the wheel here. Okay, this is something that not only did I do, but I was good at. So it obviously can't be that difficult.
Mm-hmm. Look, if we don't get it, if it's 3-dimensional chess, then that's fine. Just explain that and don't be a jerk. You're just an idiot. That's essentially what he said.
Yeah,
he looked at Ramona Shelburne and said, "Well, you're just an idiot, and that's not how this works."
Yeah, it was very off-putting to me.
Yeah. Anyway, look, to me, I still feel like
X Factor tonight is who?
Michael Porter.
I don't agree with you, but I understand why you said it.
Okay.
For me, it's Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I felt like he was a little too obvious. I mean, you need Jamal Murray to have a good game, but I feel like
that was kind of my point of how obvious, when you say he was obvious,
right.
I agree. Because the way Denver wins this is very obvious to me.
How's
the
that?
way Miami wins it is not as obvious to me. How does Denver win?
Yeah.
Same way they got here. Nikola Jokic has over 9.5 assists. I have a funny feeling you're going to hear that prop in Greene on Greene later in this hour.
Mm-hmm.
He facilitates the way he's supposed to, the way he has. He doesn't become the primary scorer because in spite of him being the MVP, that's just not what he is. Nikola Jokic is a giant version of Magic Johnson that's not quite as nimble, not quite as artistic, but that's what he does. And I have a funny feeling tonight you're going to see that.
Yeah. I want to see Porter be able to, I don't know, I mean, attack the basket readily. And
he doesn't really do that in the first place. The big thing about Porter is, can he extend the defense? I mean, in game 1, they missed more wide open three-pointers than any team had missed in a finals game in almost 30 years. And they still annihilated Miami. So I don't forget that easily.
But what I'm saying is pull them away from the basket, and then be able to attack them inside that way. And I don't know.
The only guy that Denver has that really attacks the basket's Aaron Gordon. So if that's the path, and it very well could be, because I think that's if you're looking for a lower tier X factor, it's Aaron Gordon.
Okay.
Because he was phenomenal in game 1. He was non-existent in game 2. And he's the one that gets to the basket. Jokic can do it, but now you're really pandering into what Bam Adebayo wants. I want to pull Bam away from the basket, make the fact that you don't have that many big guys. It's really Highsmith and Kevin Love. You can throw Cody Zeller in there if you want to, but just because he plays minutes doesn't mean he actually does anything. You pull Adebayo away from the basket, and now I'm gonna hurt you with Aaron Gordon. And when you start collapsing on that, that's when I'll hit you with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter and KCP. And then you should be able to build a comfortable lead and take a game on the road. It's hard to win on the road in the NBA, especially in Miami, who after game 1, they had to think we're going to get run out of the building. So now you've got these fans that bought tickets, and it's going to be loud. They're much more animated than they expected to be. So it could be quite the spectacle.
Oh, I think it's going to be a great battle. I don't see Denver running away with another one.
I don't think they're going to run away with it. I think it'll be comfortable.
That was just, to me, that was the first initial shock of the series. Spoelstra made his adjustments. Game 2, they came up with a win on the road no one was expecting. Now you're coming into game 3 with all the confidence in the world and going, now we feel like this is in reach. Now we feel like, not that it ever was out of reach, but you get what I'm saying. A little bit more confidence coming home. And you need to keep shooting like that, though. Like you did in game 2, you need to hit damn near half of your three-pointers to be able to win this game.
And Chad Reagan with a good point in our YouTube comments. He said the Heat also only shot 2 free throws in game 1, and Jimmy Butler didn't play very well. All right, let me address that, the latter part first. One, Jimmy Butler played more like who Jimmy Butler is than the Hemi buckets he had been in the postseason. I get that he's a better player in the playoffs. He's not that guy historically. There's a reason Philadelphia let him walk out the door. What you saw in game 1 is not the outlier it was made out to be. In terms of the 2 free throws, they only shot 20 in the second game. This is not a big slashing team. They shoot a lot of threes. And when they're really good, they're shooting even more. So I don't think the free throw disparity is that big of a deal. That was something that Miami zoomed in on. When you see series that you're going to shoot a lot of free throws, it's for one of 2 reasons. One, you have players that are really good at the basket. Miami doesn't. 2, you have somebody down low that you really want to foul out. Nikola Jokic couldn't care less. You want to come in there at him, he's going to stand there with his hands straight up in the air because he knows you can't shoot over him. He's not going to get in foul trouble that way. That was one of the reasons I like Denver so much in the series. The big Achilles heel for Denver has been Jokic does love to get in foul trouble. When I got one guy that can't shoot beyond 5 feet, I'm not that worried about it. I mean, if you noticed in game 1, he was letting Adebayo shoot at 15 feet. I don't care. You want to shoot that little teardrop at the free throw line? Knock yourself out. You can do it all night long. I will never come out on you. And what Miami did in the second game to me was they forced the tempo their way. They got a really good game out of Max Struss and Gabe Vincent and a good quarter out of Duncan Robinson. Those are a lot of variables. Could it happen again? Sure. It's much more likely to happen at home than it is on the road. So Miami wins tonight. Wouldn't shock me. I don't think it's going to happen, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. Game 3 tonight. We shall see. Jeremy's pick for the night coming up in Green on Green at the end of the hour.
And maybe every competitive team in the NBA could take a look at Miami and realize, we don't have to fire coaches every 2 years. We don't have to fire Monty Williams, who's a great coach, to hire Frank Vogel. I read that and went, I now hate Phoenix even more than I did.
I didn't understand that at all either. Although, I mean, I do have to say, the bag coming from Detroit for Monty Williams I thought was a good move. It's the best you're ever going to do.
Well, I mean, he got a lot of money, but for Phoenix, firing Monty Williams to hire Frank Vogel is a lot like leaving your wife to run away with your cat. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I'm really going to need you to explain it in very finite detail. But he won a title one time in the bubble with LeBron James, coming off a 4-month sabbatical for one of the oldest teams in the league. Look at him other than that. Take that one little outlier out, and he gets really Wish version of Doc Rivers in a hurry.
It's like, hey, I got a bunch of teams to the playoffs.
Yay. Yeah, so did Jeff Van Gundy.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showers in the forecast coming in from the north tonight. Rain chances staying high throughout tonight. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 74 degrees. And sunshine on Friday with a high of 76. Saturday, sunshine 82. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Verizon. Ready to take control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next turn to a Verizon store. Because my plan from Verizon is the kind of control we all deserve. Get exactly what you want. Only pay for what you need. Get my plan at your Verizon store today.
The year is almost half over, and you are still dealing with that knee or hip pain. Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics today. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without chronic joint pain. You can do all those summer activities you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body and applying them right into your achy joint, so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. This treatment is truly revolutionary. Patients across America are having life-changing results, and there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. If you have pain in your knees, back, shoulders, hips, you need to stop what you are doing and call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call 828-333-9517 in Asheville and in Greenville. That's 828-333-9517.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there. And even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
See what hit blockbusters are streaming free during Popcorn Summer Movies on Pluto TV. Watch the first 4 Indiana Jones movies, or Minari and Maid of Honor. Plus, Pluto TV has hundreds of channels with thousands more movies, available on live and on demand. Download Pluto TV on all your favorite devices for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to espnavl.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Here's to the dads, the ones who show us what it means to love unconditionally, to laugh uncontrollably, and to live life with dignity. At Ingles, we know that Dad doesn't always get the most attention. So this Father's Day, join us in giving the dads their due, along with the neckties, golf balls, and funny cards. We love you, dads, every day of the year. Ingles, all the ingredients for family.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
It is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, and the next Madden video game is coming out soon. And they've apparently chosen their cover athlete, and they decided that it's Bills quarterback Josh Allen. This is a terrible idea, guys. It's a terrible idea, and if I'm Josh Allen, they came to me, I go, I don't know that I want to do this. I'm really not sure about this. So you're saying the most tragedy-stricken franchise in history has its peak since the 1990s, and now you're going to put their quarterback on the most superstitious thing you can in the NFL? It's a recipe for disaster, if you ask me.
Well, the Madden curse has not been as proficient over the last few years. There was a time that it was real bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was every year somebody was getting hurt. Remember when they put Peyton Hillis on it?
Yes.
Yeah. What happened to him? 6 games into the next season, I think it was. Or it might even been fewer games than that. And he blows out the ACL. Nobody ever hears from him again until he almost drowned in the ocean like 3 months ago.
I mean, but if we're being real fair, all right, it was John Madden last year.
Which was the call. Well,
of
the
course.
right call, yeah.
The year before that was Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm. That didn't go badly.
I think that worked out just fine. Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes. Then we get into
Juju.
Antonio Brown.
Oh, Antonio Brown.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, he was the last real bad one.
Didn't they put Juju on a cover?
No.
I thought they did. Maybe I'm thinking of Antonio.
You are.
I don't know.
Juju Smith. I mean, how many people had to say no to get to Juju Smith-Schuster?
That's what I was thinking.
Can we call Justin Tucker? Will he do it? No? Oh, all right. Call Juju. Maybe he'll dance. Maybe we can make out a holograph and we can spin that.
I felt like they put him at least on the start screen or something that made me feel weird. Like, that's the guy?
He might have been in the background as Antonio Brown was scoring touchdowns.
I don't know. Yes. Are you not a believer anymore? Mr. 13's all over your body?
In the Madden curse? Yeah. Not really. I always thought that was kind of overstated because the biggest examples of it were like Peyton Hillis. Well, he was a one-trick pony anyway. And then, a bunch of guys get hurt. I mean, Brett Favre was on it the year he played for the Jets, and other than his arm falling off, he was pretty good for 11 games.
But that's the point, right?
I still look at
that's
that
part
cover
of the curse.
I remember when the Jets had a cover athlete. That was such a good time.
I feel like that's part of the curse, right? You were 7-2, and then
9-2.
9-2, whatever.
9-2 went 9-7. Ugh. Memories like the corners of my mind.
I just feel it gives me the willies.
I mean, I understand it.
I think Josh Allen should be.
I mean, if I was a Buffalo Bill fan, I'm not sure I feel great about that today. But hey, you've never had a cover athlete before.
Yeah, so congratulations.
There was a part of the story yesterday with Liv and PGA and the PGA merging that I was really curious of. Rory came out and gave his little spiel today, which we will talk about momentarily. But there was one figure involved in this whole scenario that I couldn't wrap my brain around. Okay, just because we've all exchanged some money, now we're all played a little golf, shook some hands, now we're all hunky-dunky. There was one figure that I really didn't know how you fit.
Greg Norman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the story's out. He's not expected to be part of the venture as the PGA, the DP World Tour, and the PIF form their alliance.
That was so predictable.
And, all right, I know what I said yesterday, and I maintain what I said yesterday about the Live PGA thing. Moralist really works when you don't have money involved, but when your survival is on the line, it's weird. Moralist, the NBA is very intertwined with China. Mm-hmm. I can do this for a really long time.
Yeah,
it's weird how money tends to win these things out. I have to say, I feel bad for Greg Norman though. You were the figurehead of this Live thing. And you took every opportunity to burn the PGA in every avenue you could. And now it's like, hey, Greg, don't call us. We'll call you.
Yeah.
You kind of got hosed in this.
But he did it to himself. That's the thing. If you're going to be the figurehead of the Rebel League, then you're probably not going to be a part of the solution when there becomes one, right?
Well,
Greg Norman was the one that was out there.
And he was on the outs with the PGA anyway,
right.
So he wouldn't have had any affiliation with him in the first place.
He joined this whole thing because he had the cachet, but also he had the axe to grind with the PGA. And he did. And he ground that axe. And unfortunately,
and now
he
you
ended up holding the handle with no blade on the end of it, because when we come back together, the one who threw the most stones is going to be the one left out, right? And that's Greg Norman.
And he's the one that got burned. And Chad Reagan asked in the YouTube comments, did the merger just happen overnight, or have they been working on it for a while? According to reports, it's been about 7 weeks.
Yeah, Rory said that when he was talking about it today, he said that he had heard that there was rumblings about it, but it went from, hey, the door's open for us to talk, to done deal, gone.
Well, I mean, that's the way it had to go. The thing I don't understand is, how did Greg Norman – I mean, he had to know. He was the face of Live, so he had to know going in that this was – how does he not have a spot at this table somewhere?
Where?
That's I don't know.
Okay. I'm just saying what chair's left open, because –
well, I mean, the head of the PIF is now the chairman of the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, there was a spot somewhere. There were a lot of hurt feelings here. And I just feel like Liv got in the room and went, bye, Greg. You got to say. And he's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the people that did all the things, the only one that will get burnt and now has no place in the world of golf is Greg Norman.
Yes.
Even Rory McIlroy, who said he hid Liv. I think he meant hate, but you kept saying hid.
He hid it.
Even him, it's going to be fine. Nobody's going to care 6 months from now.
Nope.
And yet here's the poor little shark, just on the outs.
Again.
Cast aside to the aisle of misfit toys.
Again, you're the loudest. Of course you're the one that's going to you're going to be the fall guy. It's not shocking to me at all. The PIF got what they wanted out of him. He was the figurehead. He was the one that gave them legitimacy and got all of the other guys, Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson and all of those, to join up. But but now I've bought my seat at the table. I don't need you anymore. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jay Monahan said that's a non-starter for us.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
We'll agree to this deal, but you're not bringing Greg Norman back in.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure he did.
He has
because
burned the bridge.
That's the one baby that got thrown out with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you were the sacrificial lamb that, okay, we'll give you all the money. You give us a seat at the table, and we'll axe Greg. And just to me, it's kind of some shiesty business. And we're still learning things about how this is going to happen, what it's going to be. Everything that I have been told of people that know infinitely more about this sport than I do, it's probably not going to change much of the day-to-day of the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
It appears, just these rumblings behind closed doors, things they've been told to me, is that they are still going to operate as two independent entities. So you will have the team element with Liv. The question is, how do guys get into that? And I do not know the answer to that. It looks like the guys like Brooks and Dustin Johnson, they'll all be welcome back to the PGA. You got your money. Now you can play in our events.
Absolutely.
We do things in concert, and then there will be a team element somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be across all of the PGA. I can't figure out how you're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 400 players with their tour cards, so I
I
don't necessarily think you're doing a draft of that many players.
I chuckled while you were talking there, because what went through my mind was this reminds me of when the WWE bought out WCW. You remember that? They monopolized all of this, and then they still kept the separate factions, but they split them up. And
but this is going to go much differently.
Anything like that happen.
Well, this is going to go much differently than that.
I don't want to see guys exclusively be like Live guys.
Well, that's not, and I don't think that will happen.
Okay.
Because it doesn't make any sense. If on either side, this is why I said that I guarantee you salaries are coming to the PGA Tour. That is the one thing I am definitively positive of. Because why would I not do that? All right, now you've accepted Liv. They're giving out guaranteed money. Well, you're not going to, and you expect me to stay with you? Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That was the real losers, the one that Liv chased and they didn't take the money. Well, I'm $40 million short. Hey, Jay, you got something in the conference to help that? Oh, thank you. Yeah, man, thank you doesn't have much of a monetary value, does it?
Do you try to make like the Live like a G League, and bring up the young names through the
I don't
team
think so,
sport?
because that's been proven to not work.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. I'm just spitballing possibilities here.
You're going to have to have some star power in the team thing if you're going to continue to do it.
And I could fully see that being like there'll be Team McElroy, and you'll have all the big ones will have their own teams, and then you'll have like developmental guys on their teams.
But this merger is a bigger story than it's even being made out to be. And I'm going to highlight something Bob Brown said in the YouTube comments. He asked how long before the PIF buys an NFL team. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. And you know why? It's a very simple answer. Because they don't have to. All of these other entities, You've all said, and I've heard this from people on Twitter. I hear it from Tank all the time. I saw you roll your eyes when I was talking about the Oakland A's yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the public on the whole understands how tough the money is getting in anything that's not the NFL. It's become very tough sledding because everything is regionalized. Everything has its own specific niche of the PGA Tour sells with predominantly with guys, and it's usually older guys. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to get a younger demographic. Jay Moynihan said that 50 times yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the Live Money does. You start doing these youth initiatives and get kids involved in the sport to try to add some youth to your fan base. The NBA has a shocking lack of fans over 50 years old. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. I mean, I'm 36. You're 40, but you're like 76 at heart. I mean, by the time we get to this age, we're very set in what we watch. It's very rare that you'd go, well, I've been out on the NBA my entire life, but let me jump headfirst in right now.
Right.
Every other sport has that problem. That's why this came up. I did a lot of digging on why did the PGA do this? Because hundreds of millions of dollars in lawsuits was enough that there were people behind closed doors going, this could kill us. Just having to fight them in court could be too much for us.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to the sponsors looking for more money to keep up with Live. There's no incentive for them. Am I getting more for more in-purse money? No. Okay, then why am I doing it? Just because you need it doesn't mean I'm going to come off the money to do it. And so you kind of got between a rock and a hard place. And that's what Live did to the PGA. And that's what I was saying the entire time. Their claim to fame will be that they changed the world of golf. I never thought Live was going to overtake the PGA or anything like that. You put everybody's feet to the fire. So now you've got an endless checkbook that a very limited number of guys can have. Well, what did you think was going to happen over time? If you keep doing this and the PGA doesn't find a way to inject money into the operation, what's going to happen? You're going to start getting more guys in the top 20 that go, I'm going to go take that guaranteed paycheck because the heat of this thing is dying off quickly. Nobody's watching it. Okay, did my check clear?
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't care.
Then I don't care.
Yeah, you think Taylor Gooch is looking around right now going, man, I really hate that only 14 people watch this. Nope, he's going, my bank balance has 8 digits in it now. You see that? There's 2 digits to the left of the comma. Did you know who I was 3 years ago? No.
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know who I am now? Largely. No.
But you're $10 million richer because
Bingo.
Indeed.
Here's the thing. Capitalism's undefeated. I know a lot of people don't like that, but facts don't care about your feelings. It's just the way it works. If you're in an industry where you basically have 20 years to make money, what are you going to do? You and I could literally do what we're doing right now until we're 80 years old. Until we are Joe Biden-esque and can't remember where we are or what we just did.
Hell, I'm already at that stage.
I know. It's kind of why I said that. We could do this that long. PGA Tour Pro, you got about 20 years. And that's if you're at the highest of the high. A lot of you have 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get every dollar I can get. That's just the way it works. I got inundated with messages about my take on Live. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy for you to be a moralist when your check comes from somebody else.
Absolutely.
When you're an independent contractor and you have to make your money, the rubber hits the road because your thank yous and your good intentions do not pay my mortgage, they do not make my car payment, and they do not pay for me to continue flying to these tournaments.
Yep. It's not cut and dry. It's not just a win with no fallbacks. Everybody except for the DP World Tour has some drawback.
Well, even then, now you're attached to the PIF, so they still have the negative of that.
Yeah, I get that, but
do you not find it ironic how different the media narrative was on this? The PIF was the end of the world, and nobody should ever do anything with them when it was just Live. Then the PGA hops on. The PGA's got I don't know if you've ever looked at the sponsorship list of the PGA. Take practically the top 50 companies you can think of that spend money in this country. They have about 46 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird. In one day, all of a sudden you stopped hearing about those things. Do you know why? Because those same entities sponsor the people that are saying it. You see how that works? It's weird how the narrative changes like that, isn't it? That's why I've always said, which would you prefer? Me to tell you something that makes you feel warm and fuzzy, or for me to tell you what I actually believe?
Mm-hmm.
It's what we do on this show. Yeah, it's all right. You're not going to catch me saying something because it's what you want to hear. It's not going to happen.
Right. Rory McIlroy, he was one. He, stepped up and had to answer the questions for the first time, and it was odd because it went down exactly how I thought it was going to. He had that cagey look on his face, like I don't want to be here, and I don't want to get into open-ended questions. I don't want y'all to ask me about that.
He was like the little kid that had gotten in trouble and now had to. I'm sorry.
And to me, again, like I said yesterday, it's more of a betrayal thing. I stood behind you, I carried your water, and now you're going to do this to me. You're going to put me in this uncomfortable position.
And my response to Rory would be, for a guy that just virtually never wins, your bank account is about to explode. So you might be angry today, you might be a little hurt tomorrow, but let's reconvene this in 6 months, and I have a funny feeling you're going to be PGA Tour all the way. Let's go.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Coming up after the break, it'll be time for Greene on Greene, Jeremy's gambling pick of the night. If you are a wagering individual, which way should you go in Game 3 of the NBA Finals is next. Then after the Sports Center update, we will unveil our teams and select our GMs and coaches for our expansion teams. It's a fun little exercise. We'll catch up with you in just a few.
At Ingles, we know that Dad doesn't always get the most attention. So this Father's Day, join us in giving the dads their due, along with the neckties, golf balls, and funny cards. We love you, dads, every day of the year.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
See Guns N' Roses in the U.S. city of your choice and get the special Paradise City Lounge VIP package. For a chance to win, just open the free iHeartRadio app and listen to Guns N' Roses Radio, and you'll be automatically entered. For info and tickets on GNR's tour, go to livenation.com.
I'm Israel Gutierrez. I'm hosting a new podcast called 4 Years of Heat. It takes you to Miami from 2010 to 2014, when LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade set the NBA ablaze.
You know, have an opportunity to team up with the best trio to ever play the game of basketball.
We'll take you inside those 4 monumental years with behind-the-scenes access and insight about one of the greatest teams ever assembled. 4 Years of Heat on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match, only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Wendy's Strawberry Frosty is back for the summer. Because if it's summertime, it's Frosty time. Beach time? Frosty time. Tea time? Frosty time. Me time? Frosty time. Treat yourself to Wendy's Strawberry Frosty this summer and make time for Frosty time. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Now open till midnight or later.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary.
This September, our iHeartRadio Music Festival is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 22nd and 23rd at T-Mobile Arena.
Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets go on sale Friday, June 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. But starting June 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern, Capital One cardholders can score tickets and other awesome experiences before anyone else for 48 hours only or while pre-sale tickets last.
Visit iHeartRadio.com/Capital One for more pre-sale details.
What's in your wallet?
Coffee's for closers only. Get them the money.
Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Well, hockey wasn't great. Baseball was a little better, but still not great. That backdoor cover with the late meaningless run. Thanks, Braves. That was fun. Now I get back to what I'm actually good at, and that's NBA basketball and my 2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets. This is Green on Green, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. Allow me to give you a little betting class on how to look at line movement. This game started at Nuggets -1.5. Seemingly all of the public money, 78% I checked, is on Miami. But what has happened to the line over the course of the last 2 days? It's gone up, and now Denver's a -3.5 point favorite on the road at Miami tonight, over under 214. What does that tell you? The smarts are hammering the Denver Nuggets tonight, and so am I. We're overreacting to one game where Denver played terribly, and they still had a shot at the buzzer to tie this game, take it to overtime, and still come out of this with a 2-0 lead, in spite of the fact they couldn't defend a desk chair. What does that tell me? They're still the better team. Don't overreact to the thing you've seen most recently, which is what the public is doing. So for me, this one's easy. Nikola Jokic, over 9.5 assists, which is his prop number. Denver Nuggets -3.5. Over 214. I think they're going to win in a romp. For more, find us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy. And as always, love the savings with Ingles. Love the winnings with me. Mullet out.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showers in the forecast coming in from the north tonight. Rain chances staying high throughout tonight. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 74 degrees. And sunshine on Friday with a high of 76. Saturday, sunshine 82. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Verizon. Ready to take control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next turn to a Verizon store. Because my plan from Verizon is the kind of control we all deserve. Get exactly what you want. Only pay for what you need. Get my plan at your Verizon store today.
Crooked teeth may embarrass kids whose families can't afford braces. And trying to fix their teeth themselves can make things worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. For children and teens who qualify and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, treatment can be life-changing and help them smile with confidence. Learn more at aaoinfo.org.
OMG. Hot and crisp nacho fries are back at Taco Bell, but they won't be here forever. Yeah, hot and crisp fries covered in bold Mexican spices with a side of nacho cheese sauce are only here for a limited time at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last.
I'm Israel Gutierrez. I'm hosting a new podcast called 4 Years of Heat. It takes you to Miami from 2010 to 2014, when LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade set the NBA ablaze.
You know, have an opportunity to team up with the best trio to ever play the game of basketball.
We'll take you inside those 4 monumental years with behind-the-scenes access and insight about one of the greatest teams ever assembled. 4 Years of Heat on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Lionel Messi's made his decision. He'll join Major League Soccer's Inter Miami. His PSG contract expires at the end of this month. He's the biggest ever signing for MLS. Pivotal Game 3, NBA Finals tonight. Heat Nuggets, all knotted up 1-1. 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. The Game 3 winner of a 1-1 final goes on to win 80% of time in that series. Pelicans guard C.J. McCollum.
I like Miami tonight. I like their aggressiveness. I like their returning at home. I like the fact that they figured out ways in which they can contain the others. I think Miami wins this game, and I think Denver wins Game 4 to go back to Denver 2-2 for an interesting Game 5.
Miami's a 2.5-point underdog at home tonight. I still hate Live Golf. I hope it goes away. Fully expect that it does. That today from Rory McIlroy on the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and Live Golf Union. McIlroy, a big PGA supporter, outspoken Live critic, said it's hard for him not to feel like a sacrificial lamb right now. Also said, looking 10 years down the line, the partnership will be good for the game of golf, unifies it, secures its financial future.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles, made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
It is the Sportsocracy. We are live in the Ingles Studio. Heard on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. Seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. Click that live video link. You're going to want to get in on it so you can see our cool logos that we got. Jeremy has fashioned us nice little logos for our expansion NFL teams. This was an idea that we had a couple of years ago where Jeremy would create an expansion team and we would track it through the draft and he would make free agent signings and all of that. And that it kind of died on the vine. We were a
little shorthanded. It was a lot more of an undertaking than we thought.
Right. We got through several selections of the team name. What was the one we settled on?
West Virginia Waterfalls.
Or was it the West Virginia Ninjas?
West Virginia, yeah, that was it. West Virginia. Now, I audibled it originally to West Virginia Waterfalls because that is a term for a mullet.
Yes.
And then I realized that I am not good enough graphically to make a waterfall and a mullet look similar. So I tapped out and used a different mullet nickname for my team name.
And then you went St. Louis Sasquatches?
That was one of the contenders.
Yeah. I don't know. I just remember going through the fun times trying to name the team. But then PFF did an expansion draft a couple of weeks ago.
It made me angry.
Jeremy didn't like the way they did it, so he went, you know what? They stole my idea, so we're going to steal it right back. And
we're going to do it the right way.
We're both going to do expansion teams here. So what would it look like if two teams came in at the same time, like the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars did?
In the words of a great poet, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. So Tank needed to be involved in this too.
Indeed.
Which means he got a team, and he wanted a tank as his logo.
Of course.
Because he's basic. And
because he's unoriginal as hell.
Hey, you know what I want my logo to be? My name.
Exactly.
A grown man that goes by a nickname. That's in the message. Repeat the line. So I couldn't make a tank that I thought looked cool. So I took a step. I went a step further and started doing Army things. So your team became the Beer City Battalion.
I like it.
And it's got the logo's got the little beret on it. It's got a knife. It's kind of got a Tampa Bay Buccaneers feel with the skull. And I thought it was really good. I like the colors. It's very vibrant. It's on the screen on the YouTubes.
I dig it. It's very airborne rangery.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it. The Beer
and that
City
was
Battalion.
The thought, is that Tank would get one that pandered into his 6-year-old self, still
100%.
calling himself Tank, even though now you weigh less than I do.
I just can't quit it.
Well,
I'm not at 40 gonna start going by Robbie.
And now people that listen to the show know what your name is because I get asked that all the time.
Yeah. So mine is the Beer City Battalion, and Jeremy, of
Jonathan
course,
Welch said yours should have been like the Asheville meth rocks, or
the meth rocks,
or the Asheville glowing rock from a Beer City hobo.
I should have. I like the fact that Jeremy did do the alliteration thing for me because he knows how much of a sucker I am for alliteration.
Yes.
Beer City Battalion. It was nicely done. Asheville Meth Rocks, not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
But was not the final winner.
Now, for Jeremy's team.
I actually was yesterday years old, because that's when I actually did this, before I found out that there is a term, the Tennessee top hat, that's a term for mullets. I didn't know that, which is why my logo was very easy. It's a big ginger-bearded gent with 2 beers in his hands and a top hat.
It's wonderful. It kind of reminds me of the the Austin P Governor's logo.
Kind of does,
but rednecked out.
With a little. It's a little angrier.
The only thing it's missing is the plume of mullet behind him.
I tried to add that, but I couldn't make it look right. I almost felt like it was almost just implied that it's back there.
It's up in the hat.
Yeah, it's
we had to stuff it in the hat.
In the hat.
Exactly.
It's up in the hat.
So the Tennessee Top Hats and the Beer City Battalion are our expansion teams.
Now, the way we're going to do this is, this will obviously come up in the offseason every year. This is, in radio, what we like to call the layup of you have one of these in the offseason, we don't have anything to talk about. So, to start off with, in the next segment, we will be picking our head coach, our coordinators, and our GM. Later this week, we'll go through the expansion draft, and we're not going to do it all at once. There's no reason for that. He and I will sit down and do it. We will streamline it so it's more consumable for you, which is not what PFF did. They sat at a table for an hour and a half going, should I take up the backup fullback for the Texans or a 4th-string guard for the – Nope. No. We will not be doing that.
Where's James Devlin? Can I get him on my team?
He needs to be a battalion. How would you say that? He needs to be a member of the battalion.
100%, but I'm getting all the tanks.
Somehow
Tank Bigsby and Tank Dell are winding up on this team.
Well, you got a shot, and it's ironic you said that because we will also go through the draft. We'll start with this past draft, just like the Panthers and the Jaguars when they were brought into the league. They got the 1st and 2nd pick in every round, and then they got a compensatory pick at the end of 5 rounds. So we will make 12 picks from players that were drafted in this draft. We'll go through the way the draft actually went. Whoever was on the board at that pick number is who you have to pick from. And this is kind of its own standalone universe. So just because we take them, it doesn't mean things start changing.
Yeah.
So, yes, we do see the flaw in that, but it's not that
it's the
many
only
players.
way you can do it.
I mean, I can't start making up what. Well, if Tank takes Tank Dell, what would they have done? Nope, it's too much work. Went down that path, not doing that. So we will do that next week. Go through the draft, have all of our players, and then we will be able to take free agent signings that have happened in the league this year. But there's a catch because we're not good. So the average NFL player would not sign with us for what they signed with whatever team it was with. So we have to pay them 120% of whatever they got.
Yay.
So you start getting into value. And
I was told there would be no math.
I'll do the math, okay? I thought that was implied when I said there would be math, that I will do the math.
I appreciate that.
We also have a limitless budget for undrafted free agents. So anybody that was not drafted, we can spend as much money as we want to, but you can only have 15 of those. Felt like that would be fair.
Okay.
And that's the easiest way to combine all of these things into one nice, consumable little product. And then we'll do this year over year. We'll add our own free agents. We'll have players retire, and it'll just be a fun little exercise so we can bring out our ginger-bearded beer drinker and Tank Skull.
I like it. It's a great idea, and we'll see where it goes, what the strategy is. I can't wait to see what the player pool looks like.
The player pool is better than you think. So every team had to expose 6 players. You couldn't expose anybody that was a 1st or 2nd year. Anybody that you could only expose 1 player that's been in the league for more than 10 years. and nobody that will be a free agent after the upcoming season. So you would be shocked how much that brings the pool down. The Chicago Bears were the first team I did that. This is where I started laughing at this.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears had 9 players that qualified, and 3 of them were like Darnell Mooney. Okay, we won't be exposing him. Right. So it was much easier to make the player pool than you think. So we'll go through all of these processes because, frankly, it's a lot more fun to play this little fictitious game than it is to talk about baseball.
All right, so we're going to start at the top. You're building your franchise. The number one thing you got to have is a good GM. So, who do you want leading your franchise?
Well, for me, it's really not that hard. I let you have first pick of coach, and I'm not going to lie. You stole my first pick of coach. So I took first pick of GM, and I took Adrian Wilson of the Carolina Panthers because he should have been a GM 5 years ago, and I still can't believe that he's not.
Right.
And the fact that Carolina was able to get him on that staff is somewhat dumbfounding to me. He's just a great evaluator. Mm-hmm. He's well-respected around the league. Everybody I know in the league talks about how has this guy not gotten a chance yet? And Rand Carthon, he and Rand Carthon were in a lot of the same discussions. He just got the Tennessee Titans job, and, Adrian Wilson gets the Tennessee Top Hats job. Sweet logo. Looked real good on a lapel.
All right, every time there is talk in the NFL about an open GM position, there's always one name that gets thrown in there, and it's Louis Riddick. I mean, we all know the guy's connections with the league. We know that he is well thought of around the league. But for some reason, he's never gotten any of these jobs that he has
interviewed for.
I don't know what the reason for that is.
I don't either.
But because I think the guy's very smart.
I do too.
I don't agree. And, you can't agree with everything somebody says, but he's a pretty smart guy and one that I would want leading my franchise. So I will give that opportunity to Louis Riddick to say, hey, here, show the league what you can do.
And I think that is a good start to both of our teams. We've actually both got former players. We would have, I think, two of the 3 in this scenario, 3 GMs in the NFL that were former players.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with that. I mean, it was not why I picked Adrian Wilson. And I'm pretty sure it's not why you picked Louis Riddick.
No.
Did you consider anybody else just out of curiosity? You chose as soon as I said
went
Adrian
immediately
Wilson,
because
you said Louis Riddick,
right? Because you told me I've got mine, and I went, oh well, I know that's going to be Louis Riddick, and then you told me Adrian Wilson. I went, you know what? That makes even more sense. But I'm glad you didn't take Louis Riddick because now he's mine.
I was actually shocked that you didn't know exactly who I was getting ready to take because I have complained about him not having a job in this league a GM job in this league for what feels like forever.
But not as long as we have had the discussion about Louis Riddick. That's why I thought that's the way you were going to go. But I don't think you can go wrong either way.
I don't either.
The rule of this was you can't have a GM that's already got a job.
Correct. And that's also how it works with the coaches. So in the next segment, we're going to pick our head coaches, our 2 coordinators. The way this worked, nobody makes a lateral movement. Tank really felt the urge to push that rule, but I allowed it. So your head coach either has to be an existing coordinator in the league or an unemployed former coach. You could have also gone to college, but I will tell you neither one of us did that.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did consider it very aggressive.
I did as well.
Who?
Lincoln Riley.
That was the one I thought about. Yeah. And I'm telling you, it took everything I had not to do it.
Yeah, it was Lincoln Riley. For a brief second, I thought Jim Harbaugh, but then I went, I don't know. Jim Harbaugh to me is a guy that you bring in to take over a team that's they're on the next level. Yeah. I don't know if Jim Harbaugh wants to leave the cushy job at Michigan to come take an expansion team job.
No, and he's been reasonably picky. So right. I'm not going to say I would have told you no on that one, but I wouldn't have told you.
Well,
no
I mean,
on
names
anything.
on the door. You can't tell me no on anything. But
I could, because I'm the one that does the graphics. So I could give you Yosemite Sam if I
I
wanted
guess you
to.
did. Technically, you did tell me we can't do the tank because I don't know how to make it look great on the graphics.
Well,
so
every one of them looked like our first show logo, and I went, I'm not doing that. It took me 2 years to get that to go away. I finally did, and I ain't bringing it back for any reason.
Right. So, who will be the coaching staffs for our fictitious expansion teams here? The 33rd and the 34th teams in the NFL, the Tennessee Top Hats, and the Beer City Battalion.
I like how you had to think about the name of yours.
I did, because I was going down the list of going, that's weird that we got 2 expansion teams that are probably right across the hill from each other.
Yeah. Well, where are we located, Tank?
We got one in Asheville and one in Knoxville. Congratulations.
In my head, mine was in Memphis, but
Memphis. Be interesting.
They have the showboats. I seriously considered naming your team the Memphis Boat Shows, but
the Boat Shows. It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 240 westbound eastbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge is slow. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slow between the French Broad River and Airport Road. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Smoky Park Highway northbound approaching Sand Hill Road delays. Hendersonville Road moving well. Sweeten Creek Road northbound approaching Mills Gap Road slow. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blue Ridge Health. At Blue Ridge Health, everyone deserves access to top-notch, compassionate health care, no matter their insurance or income status. Keep your family healthy with updated immunizations for COVID-19, flu, chickenpox, and shingles. Health care for all people, including you. Learn more at brchs.com.
I'm Israel Gutierrez. I'm hosting a new podcast called 4 Years of Heat. It takes you to Miami from 2010 to 2014. When LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade set the NBA ablaze.
You know, have an opportunity to team up with the best trio to ever play the game of basketball.
We'll take you inside those 4 monumental years with behind-the-scenes access and insight about one of the greatest teams ever assembled. 4 Years of Heat on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Grab your shades, your flip-flops, and your free iHeartRadio app for summer 2023. No matter where you go this summer, your favorite radio station, the music you love, and the best podcasts in the world will be along for the adventure. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Wendy's Strawberry Frosty is back for the summer. Because if it's summertime, it's Frosty time. Beach time, Frosty time. Tea time, Frosty time. Me time, Frosty time. Treat yourself to Wendy's Strawberry Frosty this summer and make time for Frosty time. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Now open till midnight or later.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Here's to the dads, the ones who show us what it means to love unconditionally, to laugh uncontrollably, and to live life with dignity. At Ingles, we know that Dad doesn't always get the most attention. So this Father's Day, join us in giving the dads their due, along with the neckties, golf balls, and funny cards. We love you, dads, every day of the year. Ingles, all the ingredients for family.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family down there, eh, Cot?
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. If you were starting up your own expansion franchise in the NFL, who would you want leading that charge? I feel like we both made pretty good selections here with Adrian Wilson of the Arizona Cardinals.
The
Carolina Panthers. Going to the Tennessee Top Hats. And the Beer City Battalion selecting Louis Riddick, finally giving him his GM job after he's interviewed for, well, at least 3 of them over the last 3 years.
Oh, it's been way more than that. I'm still dumbfounded he hadn't gotten a job, but hey, you tabbed him. That's good enough for me.
Here we are. So the Beer City Battalion going to add to it with the head coach. Has to be a current coordinator in the NFL.
Or former head coach or unemployed coach or college coach.
And
you had all of them.
Yeah, and it only makes sense for the Beer City startup team to go with a hometown boy and Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions.
Not going to lie, I was not happy when you said that because I wanted Ben. Look, he's going to get a head coaching job next year. He would have gotten one in this cycle had he not just shut it down and said, I got unfinished business with the Detroit Lions. I'm going to come back.
No, because the furthest he got down that path was with the Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just didn't like that as a first-time job.
No, I didn't necessarily love the idea of that. And he talked with the Cardinals. He talked with the Texans. And it was, I guess for him, he just went, there's not a great fit here, so I'm going to go back. And I respect that greatly.
Yep.
Did you, other than Lincoln Riley, did you really consider anybody else?
I did not, because I live by that philosophy of if I'm hiring a head coach in this league, I'm only getting an offensive guy. And I considered Mike Kafka, but I went Ben Johnson instead.
So I considered Mike Kafka. I considered Lincoln Riley. I considered Ajiro Avero. The one that I'm not going to lie to you, it took me the longest time to not choose, was Brian Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's a good one.
I thought about that one for a really long time because I have a funny feeling he's going to be a head coach in this league next year. There are a lot of people that think he had more to do with Jalen Hurts than Shane Steichen did. And that was my final 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was Brian Johnson and then who I ultimately hired, which would be offensive coordinator of the New York Giants, my guy, Mike Kafka.
Nice. Solid choice.
I love him. I loved him as a player. He was one of the first quarterbacks I evaluated. Thought he was going to be a stud in the league.
I think that's the first time that's ever been said on any radio station ever.
Oh, I did. I thought
Mike
he was going to
Kafka
be a
was
stud.
my favorite player.
I watched – he was early in my draft nerddom. I watched hours of Mike Kafka tape and just convinced myself he was going to be an MVP in the league. And now, all these years later, I get to hire him as a coach of my fictitious expansion team. Ain't it funny how life works?
Yeah. I went with Ben Johnson because look at what that offense did last year under Ben Johnson's leadership. I mean, they were like fourth most efficient offense in the league or something like that.
And that's what I looked at with Mike Kafka. He made Daniel Jones work. But it was Brian Daboll. He was in the room. He gets some credit. He learned something from just being close to Brian Daboll.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's start with the coordinators. Offensive coordinator first. Who are you putting in charge of the offense?
So mine is a little bit of a friend connection because there's not really anybody that Kafka's ever worked with that makes sense to do this right now.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if I could have said Eric Bieniemy, I would have done that, but I couldn't. I really considered Matt Nagy. Kafka worked under Nagy with the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way you're leaving Kansas City to take over an expansion franchise. And I know it's not really a lateral movement. Tank's going to challenge that here very soon. I'm going to hire the same offensive coordinator that I hired the last time we did this, Joe Brady. friend of a friend connection. He's the quarterback coach for the Buffalo Bills. Kafka and Dorsey were on the same staff. Daboll and Dorsey and Brady were on the same staff. So I'm going to give him a second chance. I didn't necessarily think he got the fairest shake with Matt Rule, and so that's who I'm going to trust to run my offense. There's a lot of overlap between Buffalo and what they did with the Giants, so I think it would be seamless. Might have to learn some new terminology, but that's fine.
Okay.
You picked three that have absolutely no affiliation with each other whatsoever.
I did not.
You cobbled together a staff where they're going to have to wear name tags of, hi, I'm blank.
But I can do great things in this league. Or at least I feel like you're capable of it. He couldn't really do all that much on the actual football field, but I feel like when you're already being talked about as a possible head coach, when you're still playing the game, you're like on an active roster, and they're thinking about giving you a head coaching job, there's got to be something to Josh McCown. So he's my offensive coordinator under Brian Johnson. I don't know what the X's and O's jive like between those two because I'm not the X's and O's guy. I'm just looking at it going, oh, wait, I can just basically do the Carolina Panther thing here, where I can just bring in a whole bunch of really great, really smart guys and see what happens. How can that go poorly? You could have battles within the organization. I get it. The power struggle that can exist between all these guys. But this is an expansion team, and if it does anything, this is your stepping stone to the head coaching job somewhere else.
No doubt. If you can work here, you can work anywhere.
Right. I considered several former players for this role. Keenan McCardell was one that I thought of. But in the end, I think Josh McCown is the answer.
Makes a lot of sense. I'll go ahead and tell you, he's not one I really considered.
Now, this is the one where Jeremy says I fudged a little bit.
You did.
And I don't.
You did?
But I don't agree.
Of course you don't,
agree.
because you did it.
Well, no. Look, here's the thing. You said they have to be or they can't be a current coordinator in the league.
Correct.
And my selection is not a current coordinator in the NFL.
But he kind of is.
Defensive coordinator, I'm going with Gerard Mayo, who is officially like the second linebackers coach for the New England Patriots.
Yes, and that's why I gave it to you, in spite of the fact that I think you cheated. I will allow that, even though it felt a little gross.
He's not a coordinator.
He's not.
Not a coordinator. And I don't even feel like he's number 2 on the list.
So
Steve is the number 2, right, under his dad.
Gerard Mayo's the 2.
Okay.
And I think he's the successor to Bill once he ultimately walks away.
Maybe.
But I don't know that, so I couldn't hold it against you, so I really didn't have an objection that I could make a good enough case to get you to do anything else. Now, I will say, if I had we'll say it's a critique of your staff.
Mm-hmm.
All your coordinators and your coach and your GM are all first-time guys.
Yes.
That would make me slightly nervous. They also don't know each other at all, which would make me slightly nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my offenses, at least, they're not like best friends, but I think they know each other well enough.
They've heard of each other.
Yeah, they run vaguely the same scheme. They both know Brian Daboll, so I'm sure they probably frequent some of the same large buffet restaurants. But I have always said I have a problem hiring first-time head coaches and not giving them somebody on the staff that's been a head coach before.
Oh, here we go.
What name am I about to say?
Is this Leslie Frazier?
Nope. Leslie Frazier is still technically the defensive coordinator of the Bills. He's taking a leave of absence here. There is, however, a former coordinator, and somebody in the chat's actually already said it, which made me laugh. You know it's my guy. It's my
Rex
guy.
Ryan?
Rex Ryan!
Oh, God.
Defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Top Hats. Had he not interviewed for the Broncos job, I wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But that tells me he's willing to come back into the league.
He's not willing to come back in the league and leave his TV job for an expansion team.
He will for what I'll pay him.
He
will for what I'll pay him, because I promise you.
Oh, is this Bezos money? Like, are we building this with Bezos money?
I'm not saying I have Bezos money. I'm just saying we've got some strong financial backing. I went down every rabbit hole humanly possible to try to find a former head coach that was a defensive guy, and the only name I could pinpoint was Rex Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
I considered Wink Martindale, but he's technically a coordinator, so I couldn't play by my own rules. So not only is Rex my guy, I didn't really have a choice to not acquiesce myself.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. See what you did there, and I guess it could be fine if you could get him interested.
Oh, I think money.
Well,
money speaks. I'm making the highest paid defense coordinator in the league. He also runs the defense that I like, which makes it easier for me to
pick
my players. And I'm not going to lie, I 100% thought that through.
All right, so there you go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our first foray into the expansion draft process here. Our two teams, the Tennessee Top Hats for Jeremy, will be run by GM Adrian Wilson, head coach Mike Kafka. And then you have Joe Brady running the offense and Rex Ryan, the voice in the room, running your defense.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think I could have hired a more Jeremy Greene-centric staff if I tried.
And then the Beer City Battalion, my expansion team, will be led by Lewis Riddick as the GM, Ben Johnson from A.C. Reynolds High School as the head coach, then offensive coordinator Josh McCown, defensive coordinator Gerard Mayo.
And we will be doing the expansion draft one segment per day over the next several days because, well, frankly, we don't want to bore you to tears with long snappers and kickers. There are no kickers. Should have also said that.
Okay.
There are no kickers in the expansion draft. That was the rule of the NFL. You couldn't expose your kicker. I took every rule from 1995, and a couple of them I had to adhere to the modern day because it's a little different now than it was then.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept it as true to form as humanly possible.
You are in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. When we come back from the break, we will get weird.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showers in the forecast coming in from the north tonight. Rain chances staying high throughout tonight. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 74 degrees. And sunshine on Friday with a high of 76. Saturday, sunshine 82. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound delays between Bavard Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Hendersonville Road moving problem-free. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. During Staples Small Business Deal Days, you save 50% when you buy any combination of 5 or more boxes, mailers, and shipping tubes. Offer ends July 1st. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Concord, New Hampshire location. Prices may vary. Keep your business running right and save at Staples.
Fellas, stop treating your groin like junk. Introducing the Gillette Intimate Pubic Hair Trimmer. A gentle and easy shave from America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. Respect your pubic region with Gillette Intimate. The best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Are you suffering from seasonal allergies? Because you're not alone. Experts say pollen season started earlier this year and will last longer, and that folks who've never had issues before are feeling miserable. I'm Martin Hoke, inventor of Navage, the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Over 3 million people use Navage to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, helping to flush out allergens, mucus, and germs. Navage helps clear your sinuses quickly and naturally. But what about other people's experiences, like Miss Clement? Quote, I chose Navage because of my persistent allergies. Navage works. While using it, I cut back on allergy meds and occasional shots at my doctor's office. Unquote. That's one of over 120,000 reviews with a 4.6-star average written by people who use Navage to breathe better, snore less, and feel healthier. Stop suffering and try Navage today at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. And mass disappearances are always that's a big red flag, right? I mean, here's a story out of Mexico where, we've all heard the big headlines and the things about security in Mexico. Lots of cartel violence, lots of human trafficking going on down there. I mean, it's rampant, the crime that occurs in Mexico. And this one is just bizarre to me. So there's been a grisly discovery in Jalisco, one of the provinces, is what or states down in Mexico. And the Jalisco Institute of Forensic Sciences has confirmed that tests on 45 bags found in a suburb of Guadalajara included the body parts of 7 missing people who all went missing at the same time from a call center. These are all call center workers that just all disappeared sometime around May the 20th. And after doing the searches, they came to the worst discovery possible in this case, that all of these people were abducted and then basically chopped up and put in little bags and buried somewhere in the desert. Not great. Now, this just sends my mind spiraling into 1,000 or 1,000,000 different directions on how. I got to know more. This is now the next crime documentary that I want to see. What was going on here? What kind of real estate scam was like the cartel running here? That somebody found out too much and they had to shut it all down. What followed that, though, blew my mind. Since 2018, would you like to take a guess at the official tally of missing persons in Mexico is?
A lot.
Since 2018, more than 100,000 people have gone missing at some point. And since 2018, in the state of Jalisco, more than 1,500 bodies have been found that they have not been able to trace the demise of these people. And still you have the Mexican president going on television trying to convince the world that Mexico is a safer place than the United States of America. Hot.
Your story is much heavier than mine.
It is very.
I have been an avid proponent of the birds aren't real movement because upwards of 8 people a year are killed in bird attacks. I have now found another animal that seems cute, cuddly, non-threatening, and I have actual statistical and now empirical evidence to back it up. Story comes from Boulder, Colorado. This happened yesterday morning. Runner running down the Metal Arc Trail, doing what they do, just, getting a little exercise in, running past a farm, and they were confronted by the silent killers in the field. They were attacked by 15 to 20 cows. Then the cows moseyed on down the road and attacked somebody else.
Oh, gosh.
I have never in my life looked at a herd of cattle and gone, oh, good Lord, I have to run the other way. But I will now. Do you know how many people in the United States have been attacked by cows in the last 7 years?
47.
You're too low. It's higher than that. 142 people have been attacked by cows in the last 8 years.
By just a few.
The silent grazing killers in the field. People, keep your head on a swivel. The cows are out there.
The cows are coming.
The cows are out there. The Rangers in Colorado said apparently they become very defensive when they have calves.
Mm-hmm, as all animals do.
But I wouldn't think of a cow.
But why?
I don't know.
Cows don't have feelings.
And it obviously doesn't happen much.
Cows don't have protective instincts as parents. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, what does a cow do? Is it going to run after you?
Yes, it will crush you. Have you never seen the running of the bulls?
I've seen the running of the bulls. These are like moo moo, Mr. Cow, like milk. I get that it's the same animal, but they don't have horns.
Well, I mean, if you're talking milk, it would be moo moo Mrs. Cow because you don't want milk from a moo moo Mr. Cow.
Well, look, I'm not a farmman, okay? So I am not a farmman, so I don't know things about farms.
That is a very important lesson.
Here's the thing. If you're drinking milk from a cow that I milked, you are obviously very thirsty.
Look, you never know.
I wouldn't trust that at all.
You never know when you're going to wind up in your nightmare scenario of naked and afraid. You may be lost somewhere, and it's helpful information for you to know that you can get milk from a cow, but make sure it's a girl cow. Okay?
Well, these were girl cows.
All
okay?
right.
Non-threatening, non-horned, just hooved cows. And they attacked this poor woman that was just going for a jog.
Mm-hmm.
Is nothing sacred in this country anymore? Must we be scared of all things?
The cows were here first. I can just hear some PETA person saying that right now.
Well, here's the thing.
You shouldn't be running in the cows area.
If God didn't intend me to eat the cows, he would have made them taste much less appealing.
Absolutely.
And
my mom likes to say that all the time. She says if God didn't mean for us to eat cows, he wouldn't have made them slow, stupid, and delicious.
You're not wrong.
Right.
I can't say you're wrong. Like now I even have to do more of my part to eradicate these silent killers in the field.
Stephen Tao says more cow attacks than shark attacks.
It ain't wrong.
There's also I considered telling this story earlier in this segment of the new study has come out that says 97% of the time when you are in the ocean, there is a shark within like 10 feet of you.
Yeah, I saw it.
So just so you know, just in case you were afraid to go out on your summer vacation and get into the water, just know that the sharks are there, even though you can't see them.
Have I ever told you my fun stat about percentages? If somebody tells you that 78% of the time something has ever happened, they are lying 100% of the time. That is the number one number people use to make up fictitious stats.
78%.
78%.
Really?
I learned that in a psychology class forever ago, and now every time I hear the number 78, I go, "You're lying! You are a liar!" It's in the New York Times. They're liars. I already knew that. That's
what
not
about
news.
the number 78?
I don't know.
Think that?
It's something subconsciously that people think that number is more formidable. It's not always a made-up stat, but it's almost always a made-up number.
It's like because if you go 75, then they know you're rounding, and they know there's no real truth to what you're saying. But if you're specific enough to say 78, it drives home the point. I don't know.
I applied for a credit card one time and told them I made $10 million, and apparently rounding that off was enough for them to go, "I bet you don't." I bet you don't.
$10 million.
I mean, what is your annual income? $1 billion. Then why are you applying for a credit card? Touche.
Was this at a West Virginia football game just so you could get the free blanket?
Maybe. What are you, a cop? It's cold up there, jerk.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Light delays 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Future 26 westbound slows beginning in the Woodfin area near Elk Mountain Road and continuing towards New Stock Road. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway due to an accident. 26 on the eastbound side is slow in pockets between Bavard Road and Airport Road. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road, north and southbound, approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. During Staples Small Business Deal Days, you save 50% when you buy any combination of 5 or more boxes, mailers, and shipping tubes. Offer ends July 1st. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Concord, New Hampshire location. Prices may vary. Keep your business running right and save at Staples.
Music artists step up to the mic on Audible, where you can experience the voices you love in a whole new way. Eddie Vedder, Brandy, Snoop Dogg, and others are sharing their stories, and Audible has captured them in intimate sessions that bring you up close. There's also an Audible series celebrating 50 years of hip-hop, and Breakthrough, the first audio-only singing competition. For every success, struggle, and song, there's a story. Hear it on Audible, the home of storytelling. Start your free trial at audible.com.
Wendy's Strawberry Frosty is back for the summer. Because if it's summertime, it's Frosty time. Beach time, Frosty time. Tea time, Frosty time. Me time, Frosty time. Treat yourself to Wendy's Strawberry Frosty this summer and make time for Frosty time. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Now open till midnight or later.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary.
You could throw your flip-flop at a bug.
Ew, a bug, get it.
But the chances of actually hitting it
Over there!
are statistically
It's still alive.
unlikely. Good thing nature's got your back. Stem bug killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants, like lemongrass and geraniol, and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed around people, pets, and throughout the home. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
Fictitious football is fun, but real football
is funner.
Is always better. Yeah, funner. Nice. Way to class up the joint there.
Hey, Tank, I have an 8-inch long mullet. Class is not necessarily something I'm bringing to these proceedings.
Do you have a leading edge on that, or
don't steal my jokes? Oh, that's a joke I can't tell on this show, but you can probably assume.
Yeah. So, real football is, as Jeremy so eloquently put it, as the new owner of the Tennessee Top Hats, funner. And we've got real football news to get into here as the Minnesota Vikings, they're trying to sell everything that's not nailed to the floor. We've already been through the Dalvin Cook thing. And that still continues to be talked about, brought up every 5 days or so.
Well, he's going to be cut because none of these teams are coming off a draft pick, and they're not going to pay him. I will tell you this. I have it on good authority that the Jets are ready to make an aggressive one-year offer to take some of the weight off of Breece Hall as he comes back from the ACL. He's going to a team in the AFC East. It's just a question of, is it the Jets? Does he go play with his brother, or does he go back home to Miami? It's one of those three.
Well, now the Minnesota Vikings, it's out there that they are getting heavy interest in edge rusher Danielle Hunter.
We did our top 13 edge rushers yesterday. He would have been my 14. PFF put out their list. He was at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Their list looks strikingly like mine, except they have Trey Hendrickson markedly higher than I would have.
So here comes another name that actually could move the needle for somebody. If you're a team that is in desperate need of a pass rush, oh, and by the way, you got like $20 million laying around. That's where I come to on Danielle Hunter. Who can he fit with that makes sense to where he's going to get what he wants? Because he wants top-of-the-line money. He wants a $20 million contract, which I don't know that anybody's given that to him, but will they?
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, 2019 was his best year, but he doesn't get enough credit for how good he was last year. You asked who could do it. I think there are several answers to that. There's two in that division because Chicago makes sense, Detroit makes sense. Not necessarily that it makes sense for Minnesota, but it makes sense for the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's another team that makes a whole mess of sense, and you're going, well, of course you said that.
No.
The Jets make quite a bit of sense.
But why?
Because in Robert Saleh's – because I'll be honest with you, the 49ers make sense too. The 49ers make all the sense in the world. Look, this guy's no matter who you are, he's a top 15 pass rusher in this league, and he's not that old.
But do you have that kind of money to spend?
Jets have $24 million right now.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Now, that's because they rearranged the deck chairs with Aaron Rodgers, and we still have to, figure that out. They hadn't done that yet. But, I mean, Danielle Hunter is going to get a ton of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking at the teams that have money. If Chicago has the most in the league, I'd make you tell me no. Add a player like that to that young defense, sign me up. And he showed he could play the 3-4 last year, which I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be a complete liability, and he wasn't. I still believe he's better in a 4-3. If I was Carolina, I would be calling. If I was the Indianapolis Colts, Dallas Cowboys, Detroit Lions, any of them.
Yep. Well, the Minnesota Vikings, they have a bunch of big contracts that are coming. And I think this is the smart move.
But why?
Well, I mean, because
I think
when it comes down to it, I would rather pay Justin Jefferson and
but you're going to be able to pay Justin Jefferson,
T.J. Hawkinson, and Christian Darrisaw, and I'm just
Darrisaw's still 2 years away. Darrisaw's 2 years away from an option. I ain't making a decision on a 28-year-old because it's something I may have to do 3 years from now. This is screaming to me, and it's about the 8th example of this offseason. Minnesota knows how limited they are, and they are absolutely taking this down to the studs. Just think about what this team's going to look like. We know Dalvin Cook's not going to be in that backfield. So they're planning some Alexander Madison. Your third receiver is KJ Osborne. Your 2 is Jordan Addison, who, at the end of the day, is still a small rookie. The defense ain't good, and without Danielle Hunter, it ain't good. So they're telling you they know what they are, and it's not good. I did it on purpose.
Ainter. That's nice.
You made fun of my funner, so I went Ainter.
I like it.
This is an interesting move. And now this is a guy that, I mean, I think any contender would have to have at least a cursory interest in.
Mm-hmm. It's a scale-tipping kind of a guy. If you've already got the defense that's on that cusp, adding him can make you gooder. You see what I did there?
I do. Yeah. So I'm taking the PFF list. They did their top 32 edge rushers going into the year, and they tiered them out. The top 6 we're going to tier by them. Basically, it's in tiers of 6. Tier 4 is a little bigger than that. There are 2 in the top 26 you can get. Chase Young at 26, who there's a report out now that Washington is listening if somebody is willing to come off draft pick compensation for him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Danielle Hunter at 11. You're not sniffing anybody else in the top 26. No shot in the next year or 2 that you're going to come close to any of these guys. So, I mean, for me, I would do anything I could. Any of these high-end contenders, these Super Bowl level contenders, Kansas City, I'd rather do this than DeAndre Hopkins. No doubt. No doubt. I'll roll with these 5 young guys. Also, just a little aside, since I said his name, DeAndre Hopkins has scheduled his first free agent visit.
With the Tennessee Titans.
With the Tennessee Titans. But DeAndre, for why are you doing that? I thought you said you wanted to play with a good quarterback. I didn't know good and living were the same. It meant the same thing.
DeAndre Hopkins is past wish list point here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he expected when his name popped up on the wire, everybody go, yay!
And everybody went, nah.
And they went, I think we're good. I think we're good, especially when I think it all turned when it came out that he wanted Odell money. He wanted the same kind of deal Odell got, and they went, well, Odell shouldn't have got that money, so why would we give it to you?
I've been told by people in the NFL, there's not an active team right now that's willing to pay him more than $8 million this year.
And see, that's what I figured
they
the market
knew of. I'm not saying somebody won't do it.
That's what I figured the market would be on OBJ.
And I thought OBJ would be at 5. I mean, here, the dirty little secret, it is not as attractive to sign vet receivers as people think, because I can just find one in the draft every year. Which is why I'm saying with Danielle Hunter, I'll give up the draft pick. It's too hard to find pass rushers. It's easy to find wide receivers and running backs. To find a 28-year-old high-level, 3, 4, 5 years of high-level impact left in this league, Ian, I'll give you a draft pick. I'm not telling you it's going to be 1, but I'll come off a day 2 pick for that.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We got the Sports Center update coming up next, and we got Mount Rushmores to do. So next hour, Mount Rushmores. This time it's the NFC West here in the Sportsocracy.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showers in the forecast coming in from the north tonight. Rain chances staying high throughout tonight. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 74 degrees. And sunshine on Friday with a high of 76. Saturday, sunshine 82. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Light delays 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Future 26 westbound slows beginning in the Woodfin area near Elk Mountain Road and continuing towards New Stock Road. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway due to an accident. 26 on the eastbound side is slow in pockets between Bavard Road and Airport Road. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road, north and southbound, approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. I'm Lyman Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Verizon. Ready to take control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next turn to a Verizon store. Because my plan from Verizon is the kind of control we all deserve. Get exactly what you want. Only pay for what you need. Get my plan at your Verizon store today.
Spring in the South means the return of Atlanta Braves baseball.
There's a liner out towards center field. It will lay down. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
The 2023 Braves load up for another huge season.
The Braves play here on ESPN Asheville.
At Blue Ridge Health, everyone deserves access to top-notch, compassionate health care, no matter their insurance or income status. Keep your family healthy with updated immunizations for COVID-19, flu, chickenpox, and shingles. Health care for all people, including you. Learn more at brchs.com.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. MLB's postponed tonight's Tigers and White Sox Yankees games because of poor air quality caused by smoke from Canadian wildfires. Both games made up tomorrow. South Beach in the NBA spotlight as the finals shift to Miami for Game 3 tonight for the Nuggets and Heat, all tied up at a game apiece. Game 3, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Rory McIlroy spoke today on the union formed by the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and Live Golf. McIlroy, one of the PGA Tour's strongest defenders and critics of Liv, admitted it's hard for him not to feel somewhat like a sacrificial lamb. Regarding his feelings about Liv, McIlroy didn't hold back.
I still hate Liv. I hate Liv. I hope it goes away, and I would fully expect that it does. And I think that's where the distinction here is. This is the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the PIF. Very different from Liv.
Saudi Arabia's PIF, the exclusive investor of the new golf union. Major League Soccer's landed a massive star. Lionel Messi says he's joining MLS's Inter Miami after his PSG exit.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now, your chance at a trip to our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Text the nationwide keyword FESTIVAL to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's FESTIVAL to 200-200.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene. Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
It is the Sportsocracy, ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400 locally. Heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app. We're also seen there on YouTube. Just go to sportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, join the thousands of the subscribers to the Sportsocracy that we have on YouTube. That way you can join us in the chat each and every day. We are continuing our series today of Mount Rushmores around the NFL. We've been going division by division, and today it's the NFC West. Starting off with the franchise in the NFC West that has had the biggest impact on the NFL as a whole.
The San Francisco 4th and Niners.
That's right, San Francisco. And this one is stupid. I don't want to do this because I feel like I'm hurting too many feelings here. Because this is a franchise, to me, that has no doubt in Mount Rushmore. But it leaves so many names that I can't squeeze onto the mountain. Because I don't think you can come up with a combination that doesn't have the following. Bill Walsh. Seriously? You thought about it?
I did, but I'll tell you why in a minute.
Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and Steve Young.
Forgot one. Ronnie Lott. That's
but
my
I only
problem.
Get 4.
That's my problem.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
San Francisco's is I have 5 that I can't do this without. Can't. Bill Walsh was the one that put the entire program together. So he's a no-doubter for me. Joe is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, so he's a no-doubter for me.
Mm-hmm.
He's the greatest receiver of all time. He's for me, which basically means it comes down to Ronnie Lott and Steve Young. And I have a feeling you're going to be on a different side than me.
You can't leave off Steve.
Can I, though?
You can if you want to.
Can I not? I think I can. I fully believe I can.
Make your case. Ronnie Lott over Steve Young.
Ronnie Lott was there for more of the good times. Steve Young was a great quarterback. And I'm not arguing that he's not. he would be on damn near every team in the NFL's Mount Rushmore. I don't think he belongs on San Francisco's. Ronnie Lott is top safety in the history of this league. If you say a number higher than 3, we're going to fight immediately.
2, maybe.
That's kind of my point. And he was so integral to that 49er defense in the 80s. And he's just like the baddest man on the planet. I mean, this is the guy that said, cut my finger off. Like, you can't go back in the game. Cut it off. Do it. Do it right now. And actually did it. A lot of people would say it. He actually went, no, seriously. Cut it off. OFF, cut it off.
Yeah. Look, I wanted to have him on there. But, I mean, Steve Young was a 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl winner. I mean, it was hard for me to leave him off. I mean, you don't have back-to-backs like that very often.
No.
You got Joe Montana, Steve Young,
Brett Favre,
Aaron Rodgers. End of message, repeat the line. Yeah.
We've been doing this together
we have been doing this together way too long. But I can't be mad at it, but I hate it at the same time.
Oh, I hate that I have to leave off Steve, but I have to leave off Steve.
Okay.
And then you look at
this is where you go secondary mountain.
No doubt.
Like, I'm going to need the secondary mountain. I want Ronnie Lott on there. I want Patrick Willis on there. Joe Staley probably ends up on that.
That is an interesting name that I did not think you were going to say right there. I'm scrolling down my list to see how long it took before I said Joe Staley's name. I'll put it this way. I'm at 20, and I don't think I'm particularly all that close.
Roger Craig's in that discussion.
Roger Craig was much higher.
Bryant Young, I feel like, is in that discussion.
Bryant Young was up there. I hadn't said Dwight Clark yet.
Clark.
He was up there pretty high for me.
Okay. Trent Williams, would you even consider him?
No, it's too short a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just too short a period of time. Bryant Young was up there higher than I thought.
Any others
that you could make the argument for? I mean, not. That's the bad thing about San Francisco is that you've got so many on the high side that it's borderline impossible for me to. I mean, the old timers will say Jimmy Johnson. I had somebody when I put this out on social media say Frank Gore, and blood came out of my ears. I'm shocked you haven't said Frank Gore yet.
I mean, I want to.
As the card-carrying captain of the Frank Gore Hall of Fame hype train.
Bingo. It's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's on the – so, okay, he's next. What have I already said? 10 guys? So, yeah, he's on the list. But not really.
You know who we haven't said yet, and it's starting to irk me? Charles Haley. Hasn't even been mentioned yet.
Yeah. Man, I get it.
I was about to say, I really genuinely don't know what you're about to say here of anything dismissive.
I mean, it's just he doesn't get to that level, does he? I mean, the combined career between Dallas and San Francisco, okay, I can see that. But individually, does he belong on the Mount Rushmore?
He was in San Francisco for much longer than he was in Dallas. So that, or at least I think he was.
But that's why he gets on the list, right? Is because he's got the 7 Super Bowl rings or 5 Super Bowl, whatever it is.
It wasn't much longer, but it was longer. Only by a year. Well, no, because he came back for, it's 3.
Okay.
I mean, he definitely deserves to be said. He's got 5 Super Bowl rings. He's 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro. Very, very, very good player that at least deserved to be mentioned.
Yep. I mentioned Patrick Willis. Ken Norton Jr. was mentioned by Frankie Cleary in the YouTube chat.
Now, I have we haven't said Terrell Owens yet either. I was waiting for you to say it. The last time we said his name, I got in trouble. Me and Nate Brown. He told a story he probably he told a story he probably wasn't supposed to.
Well,
wasn't it T.O.'s sister?
That got Namor in trouble than it did you.
But I laughed. I think I got attached because I laughed a lot.
Hell, I put it in the open of the show forever.
Wasn't it T.O.'s sister that called about that or something?
Absolutely. So apparently Terrell Owens' sister is friends with Nate Brown's wife, And we'll just say that Nay's wife was none too pleased with what Nay had to say about T.O. and leave it at that. But, I mean, again, he's one of those, like, I put him on the all-time receivers list somewhere, top 25 or
where would you put him in the San Francisco list? Of all the guys we've said, all right, I think we've definitively said in order, and I don't know if your order is the same as mine. It's Bill,
yep,
Joe,
yep,
Jerry,
yep,
Ronnie Lott,
yep, / Steve Young.
Steve Young would be there for you. I get it.
I think we should let Lisa choose. I haven't seen her in the comments, by the way, and that upsets me. Our resident San Francisco 49ers fan, Lisa Evansell, is not in the YouTube comments right now, and I'm concerned because I would love to have her opinion on this subject. Do you go Young or do you go Lott? I'm fine with it either way, I guess, but I'm on the Young camp, and Jeremy's on the Lott camp.
And I'm pretty devout in the Lott camp. It's hard for me with a second quarterback unless that second quarterback was just, I mean, a Green Bay layup. I can argue the three best players in that franchise's history were all quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's easy.
But is that not as much of a layup?
San Francisco?
San Francisco?
Not to me.
Really?
Okay. It's not. I've always had Steve Young a solid step and a half behind Joe Montana.
Okay.
And I don't really have a good reason for why other than Joe did it first. Joe did it first, then along comes Steve. Everything was kind of put together, and yet somehow you've only got one. And I think that might be what it is, that I hold the one against him.
What?
You only got the one Super Bowl that you were the starter.
Okay. The Chargers year?
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I'll acquiesce. It'll be all right, Ronnie Lott.
All right. There was one more question with San Francisco that I wanted to ask, and I'm glad we got a couple minutes here. I'm going to give you a hypothetical, and I want to see how you respond to this.
Okay.
If I told you 20 years from now, we did the same exercise, and there was a player on the current 49ers roster that ended up in this discussion, who would it be?
Nick Bosa.
That's what I thought you were going to say, and the more I've thought about it, I don't agree with you.
Okay.
It's George Kittle. George Kittle there is a possibility, if he could just stay healthy, that he ends up on the Mount Rushmore of tight ends all time. Let me explain why I say that. In the last, I'll say 20 years, he's the most complete player at that position, and it ain't really all that close. Tony Gonzalez was a better player.
Yeah.
He wasn't a better blocker.
Mm-hmm.
To me, not even close. In a different era. Travis Kelce, better receiver, not a better blocker. And there is, I just have this, maybe it's the fact that I think Sam Darnold's going to come in here, win this job, and all of a sudden all of you are going to say what I've been trying to say forever. Maybe that's my own bias.
It is.
I would have said it with, I don't really care who the quarterback is. George Kittle is a special talent that has done things I have never seen any other tight end do. I've never seen another tight end have 3 touchdown catches, 2 of which in one game, 2 of which were unbelievable, and throw 2 springing blocks in the same game to spring running backs for rushing touchdowns. And so maybe it's me just being a student of the game and being a big tape nerd, and a tight end is the position that I pay the most attention to. I would say it's Kittle. I think Kittle is a special talent.
I don't think there's a way that I don't think he could accumulate enough stats to wind up on this list. You can't. I don't see a path for him to be able to knock off Ronnie Lott.
It would be tough.
Or Steve Young. To leapfrog those guys would be unthinkable to me. Now, tight end Mount Rushmore, okay. I mean,
he's got a shot.
You're at least in the discussion now of, well, that's the 3rd or 4th mountain of tight end. Can he climb that? Can he climb all of those mountains by the end of his career, whenever that comes, as you said, not if he can't stay healthy. That's key.
The bigger part of my argument with Kittle is almost what you just said with Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott is so high on the list of safeties that you have to give him the attention. I don't know that Bosa can do – I don't know that he has it in him to get to that peak as an edge rusher because there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't that many at tight end. There is a possibility that we look back at this era and go, we had 3 of the 10 best tight ends that ever playing at the same time.
True. Very true. I mean, Rob Gronkowski is the number 1 on that tight end Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Kelce's probably 2.
And then Kittle. And Kittle's the youngest one of the bunch.
Of your all-time tight end list right now?
Of the ones that are playing right now.
Oh, of the yes. I'll agree with you there, but I'm going all-timer. That's Tony Gonzalez at 3, and then 4's up for debate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have Shannon Sharp there. You could have Jason Witten there, Antonio Gates. I just don't know that we'll ever look at George Kittle as being better than those guys.
Maybe it's just me.
Will.
Maybe it's just me because I love him.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Mount Rushmores for each and every NFL team. Today, the NFC West. When we come back for the break, who you want to do? Arizona?
Let's do the Rams. Arizona should, whatever the smallest segment we have, that's the one that should go to Arizona. Because theirs gets thin fast.
Yep. Actually, after number 1, it got thin for me in a hurry. So, all right. So when we come back from the break, we will pick this up with the Los Angeles/St. Louis/Los Angeles Rams.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 eastbound between exit 4A and exit 2. 26 eastbound slowing between the French Broad River and Airport Road. 26 on the westbound side stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Smoky Park Highway northbound approaching Sand Hill Road is slow. In Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sand Hill Road to Pond Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Verizon. Ready to take control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next turn to a Verizon store. Because my plan from Verizon is the kind of control we all deserve. Get exactly what you want. Only pay for what you need. Get my plan at your Verizon store today.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing. Or this one. I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better, unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
If your pubic region was quote-unquote junk, you wouldn't need America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. But it's not. So show some respect with Gillette Intimate. For a gentle and easy shave, Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
Here's to the dads, the ones who show us what it means to love unconditionally, to laugh uncontrollably, and to live life with dignity. At Ingles, we know that Dad doesn't always get the most attention. So this Father's Day, join us in giving the dads their due, along with the neckties, golf balls, and funny cards. We love you, dads, every day of the year. Ingles, all the ingredients for family.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
NFL Mount Rushmores continue here in the Sportsocracy. We're doing the NFC West today. Next up, it's the Rams. Whether in Los Angeles or St. Louis, what Rams are making the Mount Rushmore?
I'm curious who your first one is.
It's Aaron Donald. He's number one for me. He might be the greatest NFL player ever.
Wow. Okay.
Certainly the greatest at his position.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that one. I'm not going to lie. There were a bunch of names I was prepared for. That one wasn't one of them. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
And yeah, you might be right. I mean, I had a lot on my list. Because the Rams, in spite of the fact you haven't been good that much, you've got a slew of players here.
Absolutely.
So Aaron Donald is your no doubt, has to be on it.
Absolutely. That's non-negotiable.
I feel like Deacon Jones has to be on it.
He's number two.
All right, now I'm curious. Where do you go from there?
Kurt Warner.
That was the name I've been waiting for you to say.
Mm-hmm.
You taking him over Marshall Faulk?
Yes. I think he was the more recognizable. He was the catalyst, and he was the best story. I mean, we forget how great that story was.
I could care less about the story. I don't
But the story matters.
Care.
It does.
Not in this, to me, it doesn't.
Really?
Not in the least. Oh, he bagged groceries. And?
It was the greatest human comeback story of all time.
Well, apparently, Zion Williamson's bagging all kinds of things. It didn't make him a legend to any good. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it.
Poor Zion.
Poor Zion.
Wait, what am I saying? Stop that. Just keep imploding.
Don't do a gender reveal when you're cheating on your girlfriend. That's just it's a bad idea, Zion.
Yeah, so I had to give Kurt Warner, he's the face of the greatest show on turf.
Do you realize how many names have to be left off this list? That are all-time players.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando Pace is a top 5 player of all time at his position. I never even considered him.
I didn't either.
And I feel like the debate is, do you take Marshall Faulk or Eric Dickerson? I know my answer, and I to me it's not really all that debatable.
And to me, it would be Eric.
It would be me, too.
Only because he's the representative of a different era.
I don't care about another era. If I was putting in another player from the greatest show on turf, it would have to be Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt stacked on top of each other. Because to me, you can't put one up there without the other. It's not possible.
Well, for me, it would be Torrey. I can make the cut between the two.
I don't know how. I really don't. How do you differentiate those two? Was Torrey Holt a more talented player? I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he was more impactful to the Rams. Isaac Bruce was Mr. Ram because he was the one that was there before they were good. I couldn't differentiate them. And so I almost just took the easy way out and, okay, let's go that way.
Right. Now we could separate them. We could do the greatest show on turf mountain and then do the rest of the mountain over here, or the other mountain over here.
The
Rams you could have Kurt
legit
Warner,
have 3.
Isaac Bruce. I mean, you could have 4. You could have Marshall Faulk.
You could tell me the Rams was Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, and Isaac Bruce, and I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't clap back at you in the least.
No.
That's leaving off every other name that we haven't said. I would not have fought you on it. I wouldn't have agreed, but I would have at least understood why you said it.
Mm-hmm. For me, the 4th spot, I didn't think about Marshall Faulk. Honestly, I went back to the old school defense. It was either Jack Youngblood or Merlin Olsen.
Well, you've got 5 here.
What do you mean?
Aaron Donald, Deacon Jones, Kurt Warner.
Mm-hmm, that's 3.
Eric Dickerson.
Well, you were giving me the choice of the running backs.
So you're just not taking a running back and taking 3 defensive ends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not getting done with that. That's not happening. No way. You're going to have to pick 2 of them. And frankly, I care less which 2 you take. I didn't have Jack Youngblood up there, which I'm sure the older generation will not like. But sorry, never saw you play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's tiebreaker for me.
I'm good with Eric Dickerson. I'll go down that path with you.
It is staggering. And we haven't even mentioned the name Merlin Olsen yet, who is top 8 defensive tackle of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't mentioned Jackie Slater. Hadn't even said the name. Or Dick Night Train Lane, who most of his career was with the Rams. Now, he bounced around a little bit. So.
Mm-hmm.
It's shocking how good the history of this franchise is.
And how bad the depths were for this franchise.
It's shocking that you've had this many great players on a team when you've had 3 stretches where I could argue you were the worst team in the NFL, and you may be coming up on a 4th. It's just unbelievable that, and you've moved twice.
Yep, it's the never-ending roller coaster of what is the Rams' history.
Our resident Canadan with our first one of these of the day.
I'm your huckleberry.
Marshall Faulk was a Madden cheat code. Has to be on the list, period. I don't disagree with you. I just don't know who I take off.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Dickerson, I could argue, had the greatest season any running back's ever had. Marshall Faulk never did that, but Marshall Faulk did win. So that's, for me, that's almost the that might be the hardest trying to separate 2 players, especially because they play the same position that we've had in all of the ones of these we've done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still confounded that you had Aaron Donald as your no doubt 1.
Yep. It wasn't even really a question for me.
I was prepared for you to say 6 separate names there. He wasn't one of them. And that's not really shade. I just hadn't really thought about it because he was the one still playing.
Mm-hmm. Think about it. He is the greatest player in franchise history. I don't think there's really an argument there. 3-time defensive player of the year. I mean, he's just and he's a defensive tackle like we've never seen. And Deacon was that at one point.
Armchair may have had the best way to solve this that I've seen yet.
Okay.
His impact was more significant talking about Marshall Faulk. Brought more fans. I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said you really need to break it into St. Louis, L.A. That makes this way easier because St. Louis is what I said earlier.
Yeah, it's the greatest show on turf.
Yeah, it's Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. Done. I wouldn't even consider another. Would you?
Orlando.
Would you consider him over any of the 4 guys I just said?
No.
Good Lord, no. Stone Sports Podcast said that's the best way because it's totally different. I agree with you. And this is probably the only team I would agree to that on, that you do have to differentiate it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Jackson, maybe. I
considered it for a second, but then I went.
If you're talking about St. Louis, that would be debatable. It would be for one of the receivers, but again, I can't differentiate them.
Yeah, how do you separate the 2?
Eric Miller said Dick Vermeil. I think it's definitely one that you have to at least mention. I don't think he ends up there.
Right.
But then if you go L.A., it would be Donald, Deacon, then what?
Youngblood.
Eric Dickerson.
Merlin Olsen.
I would probably take Youngblood off Got Merlin Olsen and Eric Dickerson.
Really?
Eric Dickerson was a special running back.
That's true.
You're talking, in terms of pure talent, he might be the best running back that ever lived. Now, he didn't always statistically have it. He had several really good seasons, and then there were some injuries and, well, the Trans A&M, which is definitely worth mentioning there.
Right.
But it is confounding to me how good this franchise is for how bad they have been at times.
Absolutely. You're in the Sportsocracy. Stay tuned, because coming up next, it's the most important message of the day. Plus, we'll continue the Mount Rushmores for the NFC West.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showers in the forecast coming in from the north tonight. Rain chances staying high throughout tonight. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 74 degrees. And sunshine on Friday with a high of 76. Saturday, sunshine 82. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slow 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 240 westbound at Haywood Road. Heavy delays. A disabled vehicle. The shoulder closed. 26 westbound. Stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound. Slows east of Brevard Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Smoky Park Highway northbound approaching Sand Hill Road is slow. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sand Hill Road to Brevard Road, delays. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. In the Fletcher area, Hendersonville Road north and southbound approaching Fanning Bridge Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound delays between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Shop savings on all your outdoor essentials now at Lowe's. Buy a Craftsman V20 string trimmer or leaf blower for just $99. Get a select Bear tool free. Lowe's knows lawn care. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 6/7. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
See Guns N' Roses in the U.S. city of your choice and get the special Paradise City Lounge VIP package. For a chance to win, just open the free iHeartRadio app and listen to Guns N' Roses Radio, and you'll be automatically entered. For info and tickets on GNR's tour, go to livenation.com.
I'm Israel Gutierrez. I'm hosting a new podcast called 4 Years of Heat. It takes you to Miami from 2010 to 2014, when LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade set the NBA ablaze.
You know, have an opportunity to team up with the best trio to ever play the game of basketball.
We'll take you inside those 4 monumental years with behind-the-scenes access and insight about one of the greatest teams ever assembled. 4 Years of Heat on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Meet Joe A, Hi. Joe B, Hello. And Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Welcome into the Sportsocracy, and it's time for the most important message of the day, Jeremy Greene.
Don't do crimes!
Don't do crimes. I feel like this is a crime. Now, this is not somebody doing something.
Is it Zion Williamson? Because that's technically not a crime. It just makes you a jerk.
Yeah. Don't know? Google it. No, this feels like a crime against humanity more than anything. This is not one of those stories of a stupid criminal. This is just, it's sad all around. Beer and cattle contributed to the frustration as crews spent hours clearing a crash on the Missouri River Bridge west of Columbia, Missouri. Around 3:45 the other day is when they finally got the lanes back open after the crash on I-70 at 11 a.m. as you had a Bud Ice truck. I didn't even know they still made Bud Ice.
I didn't either, but I have consumed many of them.
But a Bud Ice truck was caught in it. So there was a crash on the bridge where there was the beer truck, there was a cattle hauler as well, and then several, smaller vehicles, pickup trucks and the like involved in this crash. It looks from the photos like they were trying to go 4-wide racing on a 3-lane bridge. Everything just got bottled up at some point, and from the crash, a hole got torn in the side of the cattle hauler, and so the cows just went running through the stopped traffic behind them, and then they lost an untold number of cases of Bud Ice.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
Bud Ice is a tremendous way to get where you're going very fast. And also, if you don't drink enough water and have you one of them blue Gatorades next to your bed, have a headache the next day that will make you question your will to live.
Okay.
Ask me how I know. My story comes from Riverside County, California. It's about a bail bondsman. His name is Fausto Atalano. He is the owner of Fausto's Bail Bonds. It's one of the biggest bail bond companies in this particular section of California. He needs a bail bondman himself now because he has been arrested. Would you like to know what he's been arrested for? 14 felony counts of perjury and preparing false records for a fraud scheme that allegedly cost the county over $500,000. Here's what he did. So California, obviously very close to Mexico. So there's a big problem of some people having bond and they flee to Mexico. Well, he had a great record of finding these fugitives in Mexico and returning them to justice through a correctional department in Mexico. What he would do, he would find them down there. They would be arrested by the Mexican government, and they would take a picture, send them back to the county records in his jurisdiction, and say, "We've got them. They are under our jurisdiction. You can waive that bail," and then his company would be paid for finding them because they had found prosecution in Mexico. Well, there's only one problem. None of them were real. They were taking pictures of random prisoners that looked like the people that they were after, saying, "We found them." They would pay him, and they didn't find them. And do you know how they found this out?
How?
Because they arrested one of them in their county and went, "Wait, we just got a picture of you just a couple weeks ago from a Mexican prison, and now that we're seeing you, there is a tattoo on your face that is not on this guy's face." And so they pieced it together, arrested him, and he is now awaiting prosecution. And that is the most California thing I've ever heard in my life. They took a picture. That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, for the participation trophy capital of the United States of America. A for effort because you tried. We have breaking news.
I love breaking news because it means I get to do this.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
That dance is just genuinely awful. The Phoenix Suns have informed Chris Paul that he will be released. He will be one of the biggest free agents on the free agent market in just a few weeks in the NBA.
And who cares? Like, I mean, is this a needle mover? Is Chris Paul at his age a guy that can bring the thing that ties the room together?
Depends on where he goes. If you need somebody that needs a predominant ball handler that's not going to give you much offensively, then yeah, we can talk. Now, who that is, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay.
You know, it's not Phoenix.
Right.
Because he fit in that offense like I fit in a dress. So I'm not even kind of surprised by this.
No.
I'm really not.
Be. He was going to be the odd man out.
Well, he was a complete liability in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got hurt, and you saw how much of a liability he was, and it pretty much guaranteed this was going to happen.
Right.
But could I see him ending up – I'm trying to think of a contender that could I'll tell you one just off the top of my head. Philadelphia. Philadelphia makes some sense. Somebody that could feed Joel Embiid, allow Tyrese Maxey to play off the ball, because that's been – and I know that's not what he does best, but you could make those minutes work. Lose James Harden, he goes to Houston.
Maybe.
There are a few other teams I could do that with.
Okay. All right. So Chris Paul no longer going to be with the Phoenix Suns. Hopefully he will go to another contender where he can vie for a title and then get hurt in the playoffs and not give them the title.
That's the second part of this. He has come out and said he intends to play for several more years and will look for a contender to latch on.
No,
That's a weird way of saying he's going to play this year.
Yeah, a year.
Buddy, like, you're older than I am.
Yeah. Has he gone up to number one on the Mount Rushmore of never won a title yet? Is he past Charles Barkley?
Not for me. He's great. He's not Charles Barkley.
Right. He's up there, though.
Yeah, we can do that one day.
You're in the Sportsocracy, ESPN Asheville. And speaking of Mount Rushmores, we continue through the NFL division by division, the NFC West. Next up is the Arizona Cardinals. Who
Larry
winds
Fitzgerald.
Up? Yep, that's. Can we just make it Larry Mountain?
He's not the only one. You said that earlier. No, he's not the only one. I can make an argument for a bunch of guys.
Okay, who's your two? I'm
Pat
interested.
Tillman.
You know, I didn't think that you were going to do that, honestly. Because that's the right answer.
No doubt.
That's the right answer, but the story doesn't matter. You just said that a segment ago.
That's a little different than he worked at a grocery store.
I understand.
Yeah, he bagged groceries, then became Super Bowl MVP. The Pat Tillman story, that's a little different, and I'm going to level you. I considered him at one. If Larry Fitzgerald wasn't a top 4 receiver of all time, I'd have had him at one. Because you talk about something that will probably never be done again. If you don't know the whole story, Google it. Because Pat Tillman, if you put him below 2, we'd have fought.
He was my 2.
And then I have a no doubt 3 and a no doubt 4.
Okay.
And they both play the same position.
Ooh, interested.
Aeneas Williams and Patrick Peterson. End the message, repeat the line. I only considered one more player a lot.
Mm-hmm. And his name was?
Kurt Warner. I did consider Kurt Warner.
The Dan Deerdorf slander has to stop.
Okay. Give it to me.
What? He's an all-pro tackle for 10 years.
Awesome. He's also the worst broadcaster in the history of microphones.
Well, I mean, you know, that notwithstanding, still one of the most recognizable faces in franchise history. And he's one of your greatest players of all time.
That's fine. Okay, then he should have been considered. I ain't putting him above Patrick Peterson. I ain't putting him above Aeneas Williams. And I'm not putting him above Kurt Warner, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Aeneas Williams was my 4.
Who was your 3?
Dan Deerdorf. Because this is how bad your franchise is.
There's a lot of slander on Patrick Peterson there. He's quite good.
No, I'm not disagreeing. Buda Baker was one that I thought about for a minute.
I would have laughed until I might have urinated on myself if you had said that. I would have laughed less if you'd said Jake Plummer. Buda Baker's been in the league for a handful of years, and he's fine. He ain't got it like that. Let me just give you the list of guys I had ahead of him. Larry Centers, who was a fullback, Simeon Rice. I actually had Night Train Lane on here because we haven't found a place to put him yet of the places he played.
I don't think you're gonna.
And this one I felt. I had Carson Palmer on this list. I had a Buddha Bear. Darnell Dockett's another one that doesn't get the love that he deserves. He's Seminole. And Anquan Bolden.
Of course. Anquan Bolden, yeah, that's one of those that you just throw in there at the end.
He's never going to make it, which is infuriating because he was so good.
Yeah, he was good, but was he great?
He was great.
You think so? Okay.
Do you not?
Does he ever get into the Hall of Fame? No.
But that's a
He's
biased.
not even in the discussion.
That's a biased metric, and he's in the discussion. Dude had almost 14,000 yards receiving. He's in the discussion. He had 7,000-yard years. His name is going to be mentioned.
How many years does it take? How many years would it take?
For him to get in?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that you've got a slew of other guys. It's going to take multiple years for all kinds of receivers.
That's kind of my point.
That doesn't change the fact he's great. There will be no Anquan Bolden slander on this here program.
Not slandering him. I'm just saying he's not Mount Rushmore worthy.
You could also do a Mount Rushmore of holy good Lord, what a bust for the Arizona Cardinals. Headlined by Matt Leinart and Josh Rosen. Yeah, I mean, there were more players that, I get it. I would have gotten it if you said Larry Sanders. Might be the greatest fullback of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, for me, it's Fitzy, Pat Tillman, Aeneas Williams, Patrick Peterson.
Okay.
And for me, it's in that order.
No Adrian Wilson. No love for him?
If I had a fifth spot, it would probably gone to him. I'm glad you said that because I saw his name and I thought it was in reference to the fact I just tabbed him to be my GM for a fictitious football team.
No.
Getting late in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't putting two and two together there.
Because of the short frame and time frame, I didn't ever really even consider Kurt Warner for this.
Took you to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And I mean that's got to count for something.
And I get it. But Larry's the overall number one.
No doubt.
After that, you can have your discussions, but Pat Tillman most definitely needs to be on that Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily for what he did on the field, obviously, but, great American hero. It's the ultimate American story. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Come back for the break. We'll talk about the Seattle Seahawks Mount Rushmore, and I feel like this one should be easy.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic volume heavy, 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Boyne Bridge. Future 26 eastbound slow between Riverside Drive and 240. 26 eastbound delays between Brevard Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Smoky Park Highway northbound approaching Sand Hill Road is slow. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sand Hill Road to Pond Road slow. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Near the North Carolina Arboretum, Brevard Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Clayton Road. Sweeten Creek Road southbound stop and go between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by STEM.
If the weather calls for rain, then the rain calls for mosquitoes. Keep them away with STEM. STEM is powered by active ingredients found in plants to repel mosquitoes safely and effectively when used as directed. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
Wendy's Strawberry Frosty is back for the summer. Because if it's summertime, it's Frosty time. Beach time, Frosty time. Tea time, Frosty time. Me time, Frosty time. Treat yourself to Wendy's Strawberry Frosty this summer and make time for Frosty time. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Now open till midnight or later.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary.
This September, our iHeartRadio Music Festival is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 22nd and 23rd at T-Mobile Arena.
Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets go on sale Friday, June 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. But starting June 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern, Capital One cardholders can score tickets and other awesome experiences before anyone else for 48 hours only or while pre-sale tickets last.
Visit iHeartRadio.com/Capital One for more pre-sale details.
What's in your wallet?
So much of life these days is rushing around from one place to another. Sometimes you just want to enjoy the journey on the way to the destination. And part of what makes it a little more enjoyable is an appreciation for the folks who help you get there. At Ingles, we know that the people who send you on your way are the same ones who keep you coming back.
I think you should take her for a spin. Are you serious?
Ingles, all the ingredients for family.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, ain't it?
This is the Sportsocracy, final segment of this Wednesday afternoon, continuing with the Mount Rushmores for each and every NFL team, and we're doing the NFC West today. Final team in the division is the Seattle Seahawks. Or the Sea Chickens, as Jeremy likes to call them. To me, the number one on this was easy.
Walter Jones.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you can be wrong.
It's Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's the number one.
Yeah, I won't say Pete Carroll's one of the three best coaches of all time. I'll say Walter Jones one of the three best tackles of all time. It ain't debatable. You can take analytics, you can take stats, you can take whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Jones is a number one. That was the only player on this list that there was no shot that we were getting through this without him being on it.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Carroll was my two. The problem with Pete is that I could give credit to a whole mess of people. What I'm curious of is was Walter Jones your two?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to have to yell at you because he's a Florida State guy, and I will defend my friends.
No, he was. And
then, see, to me, this is where it gets interesting.
And then I think Steve Largent has to be in the discussion here. It's not the one I went with at 3. I went with Richard Sherman because he was the loudest, and he was the face of that defense, that Legion of Boom defense. So I have to have a representative of that. I mean, one of the greatest defenses of all time. You have to have a representative on the mountain.
I would agree.
So I went Richard Sherman for that. And then I went with the biggest fan favorite, Marshawn. It was Beastman. I mean, you caused a friggin' earthquake with the guy on the field. I feel like you have to do that.
I was so afraid you were going to do this. Russell Wilson has to be up here. And to me, that's not even debatable.
I wanted to, but I got it.
I'm going to need you to explain that. Without saying anything about the Denver Broncos, I'm going to need you to explain that. Oh, statistically, he doesn't. Okay. Is he the best offensive player in the history of this franchise, yes or no? Because the answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had him ahead of Steve Largent.
Okay.
And I'm on a level. I didn't have Steve Largent on it.
Really?
No.
Okay.
And I get it. Steve Largent's one of those I look at and go, what would you be right now? Hey, you're a great receiver. Don't get me wrong. So is Chris Collinsworth. where would you fall in with the DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupps of the world today? And maybe that's just me convincing myself that it's not a slight. You cannot not have Russell Wilson on this list.
Mm-hmm.
I get last year was real, real bad. I get that.
Mm-hmm. And then?
See, to me, that's where it gets borderline impossible because I have to take somebody from that defense, but I don't know who. I considered Bobby Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
I considered Richard Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
I considered Earl Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know which one.
I believe it has to be Richard Sherman.
I'm almost to the point now where I think it has to be Bobby Wagner.
Okay.
With the second, they're reuniting now, and there's going to be another run. Maybe I'm getting ahead of it. Maybe I'm trying to not have to redo this in 2 or 3 years because I feel like he will be there.
Maybe.
I don't see why he's not. I mean, if he's the same player he was last year for 2 or 3 more years, you're getting in over Richard Sherman. And the one that I'm the most upset I had to leave off was Marshawn Lynch. I knew you were going to say no on Russell Wilson.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying you can't have him on there. I'm just saying I didn't have him on mine.
And I just don't get it.
I mean, he originally was, and then I went, yeah, but I don't feel like I can leave off Marshawn, and I don't feel like I can leave off a member of the defense.
You have to have a member of the defense. The
And
Legion of
then-
Boom was the most. I wanted to say relevant right there, but it's not really the term. And I guess Sherman is the figurehead of that because Earl Thomas went on to somewhere else.
And I'm
Cam
not.
Chancellor retired early.
Right, and I'm not having one without Pete. So are you leaving off Walter Jones? No.
No, he's an all-timer.
I mean, there are others that can be considered here. Cam Chancellor came to my mind. I mean, much after Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman and Bobby Wagner, but he's also on that list. Some blast from the past here in fantasy football. Doug Baldwin. He's a name that needs to be mentioned.
Eric Miller's our resident Seahawks fan, and he's saying, no way Largent doesn't make this. I just don't see how. You were awful in that era. The successful part of the franchise was the Pete Carroll era, so he has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Jones is an all-timer at his position. They did a vote of this with NFL writers. No, out of 100 writers, not one of them had him below 2 for Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Can't not have him there. Russ won you a Super Bowl. You got to have a member of that defense. I don't see how Steve Largent fits in.
Yep.
I'm not slighting the guy. I'm just saying you put up a lot of stats in a time where you were one of the 5 worst teams in the league. So for me, when you get into these, I mean, I can only pick 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that's got to go.
Cortez Kennedy also needs to be mentioned here.
That one bothers me that I couldn't get him on, but I can't. He's got the same problem as Steve Largent.
When you go back to those old, like the old totem pole uniforms, it's hard to have your guys on there over the era of Pete Carroll.
See, for Seattle, this is one that you almost wish they had moved. So you could say, hey, Pete Carroll Seahawks, and then give some love to the guys before that.
Right. This is just the random Pacific Northwest Seahawks.
And I feel
because before the Pete Carroll era, I mean, there was that little bit of Sean Alexander and Mike Holmgren, that era.
Matt Hasselbeck.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like you've got to have a shout out to the 12th man flag here, too, because that could be the 4th one. I don't know that there's a whole lot you could say elsewise.
I mean, are we carving a 12 on the mountain? Maybe so.
Yeah, you just put a flag on top. Yeah, they
there
get
you
there.
Go. 12
yeah,
flag
just throw
on
a
top.
flag on top of it. We're done.
But Sean Alexander, I mean, who can forget that season that he had where he had 27 touchdowns?
It's true.
How do you leave that out? You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Back with you tomorrow at 3.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Rain showers in the forecast coming in from the north tonight. Rain chances staying high throughout tonight. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Partly cloudy Thursday, high 74 degrees. And sunshine on Friday with a high of 76. Saturday, sunshine 82. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Light delays on 26 eastbound between the French Broad River and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Sweeten Creek Road southbound between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road is stop and go. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road is slow. Checking the drive time from downtown Asheville to Asheville Regional Airport via 240 westbound and 26 eastbound. Drive time 19 minutes. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome at the end of your first year. They automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you've earned, doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
Spring in the South means the return of Atlanta Braves baseball.
There's a liner out towards center field. It will lay down. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
The 2023 Braves load up for another huge season.
The Braves play here on ESPN Asheville.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville WPEK.